stories unfold, and the chat's got soul. From the gavel to the gas, we're watching it all. Covering the courtroom, big case or small. Laugh when we can, cry when we must, but it's all real talk, you can count on us. We're not the pros, just fans who care, with popcorn in hand and a comfy chair. And every twist, we're right there, together like we're all in the witness chair. This is the Broken Baker, where the trials come alive, where the chat is wild and the vibes survive. We're watching the worst of what people do, but we keep it light, yeah, that's our truth. It's the only place for crime, and it feels just right. We bring the justice talk into your night. So hit that stream, don't miss the call. At the Broken Baker, we cover it all. Oh yeah. We're just flaming with the view, but we ask the things the world wants to. Digging through the facts, side by side. Even when it's dark, we bring the light. No clickbait, no fake feels, just truth and the highs and the reels. With the chat that roasts and rides, we're just here for the case and the vibes. This is the Broken Baker, where the stories unfold, with a smile in the heart, even when it's cold. Yeah, we cover the bad with a wink and a grin. Where the real talk starts, come on, jump in. It's the only place to be, can't you see? For trials and truth, it's BBTV. The Broken Baker, where the trials come alive. Yeah, we'll be here, trial of the trial.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, blah, blah, blah. Hey, all y'all. Welcome back. We are back in good old Georgia, suburb to Atlanta, I think. I don't know anything. This is the Christopher Wolfenbarger trial. 27 years ago, his wife went missing. They found they found a skull or cranium, and that has been bleached, stripped of the meat, and later they found extremities. They didn't figure out who it was. They couldn't determine because they never found the torso. Then in 2003, Melissa Wolfenbarger's dad was arrested for 5 homicides. He turned out to be the Flint River serial unaliver. And apparently her mother got immunity because she testified against the dad. Melissa had lived at that house. Apparently that house was quite a mess, so bad that she got teased in school, started running away from home when she was 12, 13 years old, after she found her older sister's newly born and I think deceased baby in a dirty laundry hamper in the house. When she runs away, she meets up with Christopher, who she gets married to. They have 2 kids in quick succession, but this is where the story starts to differ a little bit. According to the state, there's a lot of DV going on. She finds a new boyfriend, a lot of shenanigans, and Christopher, one day after close to Thanksgiving, chooses to unalive her, cut her up, and drop her right across from where he worked. According to the defense, who had a way better opening statement because you didn't sleep halfway through it, she was banging some other guy and had moved out, given away her parental rights to her kids to her mother-in-law because she wanted to keep them away from her own parents. And this will be a heavily relied on. Well, can they even prove anything 27 years later? The state, in what I've read before, have had one new witness come forward, and they have some kind of forensic thing that they believe prove it is him. But the defense says, well, they tested the entire house. Nothing, no trace of anything. They rely on that Christopher moved out of the house between Christmas and New Year that year and left everything. They will call their daughter to the stand, who will testify she can remember exactly that day her mom disappeared and every picture in the house was removed. She must have been 4-6 years old at the time, and apparently didn't make these statements until she talked to her grandmother. Does it sound kind of like another case we have heard about where kids testify in court with new memories? Oh, of course, not new memories, because they would never lie. But it's going to be an interesting case to see how they can prove it. There was a hearing before we came back. This is the first witness after the break, where they were talking about which pictures to show the jury, because the judge didn't want them to just put in all of these gory details. And apparently you can't even tell if it's a leg or an arm in the pictures. But the state claims you can see saw marks. But I don't think they have a saw they can link it to, other than Christopher apparently had allegedly stolen a saw at his workplace. So that must be the saw he used or something. Really, really, yeah. I thought not dying was good, not an opening for harassment via wife. Well, you're married. You can always be harassed. That's one of the things that's on the back on the marriage license is, yep, you're her punching bag now. Yeah, if you ain't dying, she will be nagging. Well, hopefully she will get to nag on you for many, many years, and you will get to come in here and make fun of Sue every day. Take it out on Sue. She deserves it. But I hope everything is way better than the other day.
And then, Mr. McEachern, if you could turn a little bit more and face the jury, please, sir. And now,
Oh, yeah, and it's 27 years old. Everyone will be old as dirt in this case. Well, they say there were saw marks on them.
Yes, George W. McEachern.
much better, sir. Thank
Last
you.
name
Yes, and it won't change. I'm dyslexic and proud.
is spelled capital MC, capital EACHERN.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Your Honor. And do you remember in April, at the end of April of 1999, unusual thing happening an unusual thing you found on Avon Avenue?
Yes, I went for a walk that morning to the bank, and on my way back, I came up Avon Avenue, and as
And what did you see?
I saw a head, a human head that was laying in the street. So I walked up to it, and I looked down at it, and I saw it was a head.
How did you know it was a head?
Well, through my training in martial arts science and funeral direction, I recognize human heads.
Human head?
Yeah.
What did you do?
I took a stick and I moved it out of the street to the curb of the road,
Why'd you do that?
so it would be intact. I didn't want another vehicle to come and crack it up. So I moved it to the corner.
Could you repeat the last part where you said that it's a crack it?
I did not want a vehicle to come and run over their head and deform it. So I saw it belonged to somebody.
What did you use to move it?
I broke off a stick.
The reason why he's sitting there is they tried to have him in front of the normal witness box, but they couldn't fix it with the microphones. That's why they moved him down so he can use the microphone at this table.
And I took the stick and I tried to push it over to the curb.
Did you see anything else unusual on Avon Avenue on that day? I mean, was there any other things? that you can recall?
Well, I didn't know some birds, some birds flying up in there, look like buzzards. And,
Okay.
and I reckon that might have been the reason why they were there. But I told the officer after I called them that I thought they could be something else out there in the woods because the buzzards were still there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, after you found the skull, what did you do next?
I went home. I got my daughter because she was in criminal justice.
We did the opening statements this morning. This is picking up after the lunch because I was covering the Brian Walsh hearing. That was a big nothing burger as always. So opening statements was covered in my morning show, and this is the first witness they are calling.
Okay.
And I want her to see the head.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did your daughter come with you?
She did.
And what did you do next?
Call the police.
Okay.
Call 911.
And after you called 911, how long did it take? Do you remember how long it took the police?
I'll do a recap video in the morning so you can catch up with us.
To get there?
That regulation said right now. It wasn't long. But right now I cannot recall how long it was.
Okay.
But
you
they
didn't think
did.
It was long?
No, I didn't think it was long. But
How
they,
many police? Do you remember how many police showed up?
no.
Was it just one or more than one?
I'll do what Sue says.
I don't know. I know there were one. I do know there were one. There could have been more than one, okay?
Because as you talked to the one.
Yeah, I talked to the one. Yeah.
And did you do any? Did you go anywhere after you initially told the police out on the scene? Did you go anywhere with police?
I do know I had to go downtown.
Okay.
But I can't recall whether it was the same day or not. I was there a few days later. But I do know I went down to the Atlanta Police Department.
Okay.
I think it was down there, Georgia State College, Ponce Leon, somewhere down in there.
You went to the headquarters.
I went to the headquarters, I think it was.
And
You-
I
it's
assume
a-
you told them what you saw.
I told them the same thing I'm telling you now.
And do you remember if you gave any statement or had to sign a statement or anything, just saying what you did?
I'm pretty sure I had to, sir. I'm pretty sure I had to.
Oh, there's a lot of twists and turns in the defense compared to the state.
I'm going to show you a piece of paper. Do
Okay.
you recognize that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that your signature?
My signature.
Yeah. Could you read it real quickly? Is that the statement that you gave?
Sir, I'm gonna be honest with you in the courts. When I gave this report, I was walking, I was younger, I could see better,
Well, can you read it?
and right now I cannot make this out.
Okay.
They too damn around. I don't have my glasses with me.
Are they around?
I don't know, but baby, have my glasses back there.
I like this fella. Hey, baby, I've got my glasses back there.
Mr. Wilson, just to clarify, are you asking the witness to read it to himself, or are you asking him to read it out loud?
Read it to himself.
Thank
you. Refresh his recollection.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Do you need some assistance, sir?
I can see. I just squint when I am thinking.
Apparently not.
What do you want me to do with this?
Does that help you?
Yes, if you may read it to myself, I have.
Yeah, read it to yourself real quick.
Okay.
How should he remember it's 27 years ago? But I like his glasses. Well, Rianne, you get up early tomorrow, and then you'll catch the early stream, and you'll be ready when we go later. You need to see the twists and turns because there's a big. Don't watch the state's opening statement; they are boring AF. But you need to hear all the twists in the defense. Funny to see if they
True,
have to prove
all but
can prove it.
maybe a few sentences.
Do you know?
I was driving, I wasn't driving, I was walking at the time. That is-
I apologize. I think you
Say that
said,
again?
yeah.
I wasn't driving, I was walking at the time.
Okay. Did you,
Yeah.
does that help refresh your recollection
Yeah,
at all?
sure, it does.
Do you remember finding anything else other than a human head?
I don't.
Now, how long have you lived? You've lived in Atlanta your whole life?
No,
Where else did you live?
no,
How long have you lived in Atlanta?
ever since 1960.
Ever since 1960? And Avon Avenue, is that located in Fulton County?
It is.
Can I just have one moment, Your Honor?
Sure.
Well, again, hope
Mr. Yeoman, questions for this witness? Sure.
everything looks a little brighter today.
Okay,
Thank
I
you
do.
so much, Brendan.
Okay,
You said you informed the officer on the scene that there were buzzers certainly overhead. Is that correct?
I did.
And did they go over and check anything else? To your knowledge?
I don't know, they told me they were going to, but I think what happened, a few days later,
This is the guy who found the human head.
somebody came by my house and told me that they had found another body part, and they were going to try to match the head with that body part. However, as far as I can remember, sir, it wasn't in Atlanta they had found that body part. I think he told me to find somewhere near Griffin or Macon or somewhere down in the area. Somebody told me they had found a body part, and they were trying to mess it up. And that's the last I heard of that.
Is this a walk that you took every day or frequently?
No, this was a walk that I decided I wanted to walk that morning to the bank
Did you ever normally travel up and down Avon Avenue?
sometime.
You ever notice any dogs?
Brother, there are homes in that area. I'm sure there's dogs in that area
Or did you
also.
ever see any when you were traveling up and down Avon Avenue?
Yeah,
Do you remember? All right, thank you.
Yeah.
That's all the question I have.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson?
No redirect, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. McEachern, you are excused as a witness. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, man.
So he saw buzzards and police came, and
If you could move
he
that
didn't hear
mic
anything else.
back. Carefully, sir.
Dale, Kelly, Kelley.
And what do you do for a living, sir?
Retired,
What did you do before you were
law
retired?
enforcement for 42 years.
And let's go through your law enforcement career. Where did you first become a law enforcement officer?
In 1979 in the city of Atlanta.
And when you were hired, did you have to get? Well, tell us about your hiring at the City of Atlanta.
July 2nd, 1979 was the first day I started the Atlanta Police Academy. We were there for 12 weeks. And then after you got out of that, you rode with a senior officer for 12 more weeks in field training. I became a patrol officer. I was assigned to Zone 1, which is Northwest Atlanta at that time. 83, I was promoted to detective. I did vice for about 6 months. That was during Eldon Bell. He thought all new detectives needed to go undercover and then come out and get in a regular division. I went to sex crimes. I worked in sex crimes, total of 13 years, but whenever they had a sexually related homicide, I would get pulled over and help the homicide detectives work a sexually related homicide. And then in 1996, I was permanently assigned to homicide.
In 19,
He has a
Were you
very
pro
long
certified?
neck.
Yes,
are you still pro certified?
no, I do not keep my mandated.
And when did you leave the City of Atlanta?
I retired in 2000 from the city of Atlanta, went to the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, worked there, started in the jail, worked patrol. I went to CID. From CID, I made sergeant. I was a night shift sergeant for a patrol shift. And then I went to the fugitive unit, the warrant unit in plain clothes. And then from there, I made lieutenant and was over the transport and civil division.
Now, did you receive any specialized training in investigations?
Yes, I mean, I've been as far as California on missing persons, violent crime network training. I've been to Valencia College 3 or 4 times on advanced sex crimes, advanced homicide, crimes, and like that.
Now, during 1999 and around April, could you describe what you were in homicide division at that time?
Yes, sir.
Tell the jury what happens when you get how does that work? Or how do you get assigned cases or what?
Well, okay. You were on a rotation system where you were up on call. And if anybody called for a homicide unit, you would answer and go wherever they asked you to go. You didn't go by yourself. Half the time, the whole unit would go. You were just the lead, and they would do other jobs needed at the scene.
And when you say lead, what does that mean to you?
You were up on call, and the case was going to get assigned to you.
And when you're lead, what kind of things do you focus on?
Well, you get to the scene, try to focus on directing the identification people to do fingerprints some places. Sometimes you don't. Take pictures and stuff like that. You may ask like the officer, the first responding officer, if there's a witness at the scene or something, you get the officer to take himself and the witness to the homicide office where they can give statements.
And let me draw your attention specifically to April 29th, 1999. I assume you were on call that day.
Yes.
And did you receive a call regarding a unexplained, well, I mean, what kind of call did you receive that day?
The way it works is Zone 3 Unit 2304, which meant he was a day shift unit working 304's beat, came over detective radio and called for a homicide unit. Each zone, and Atlanta still has 6 zones, they all have their own radio frequency. Detective division had their own frequency, and they would.
I think it's because if he slides it a little more to the right, he'll catch the jury.
Just switch their radio over to the detective frequency and call for a homicide unit.
So it was your turn.
It was my turn.
And where were you told you needed to report to?
He told me to come to the intersection of Avon and Hartford Way, Southwest in Atlanta.
And what did you do?
I got in the car with the lieutenant.
I had the same
and
hairstyle in
investigator Tina
1999.
Miller
No,
also rode with the lieutenant,
I had,
Tony Biello, and we rode to that location.
And why did Investigator Miller accompany you?
Again, on a homicide, you need as many people as you can out there. We didn't know what we had other than a unit calling for us, and we could always use help.
Okay, so she went along?
Yeah.
Okay. And when you got to that location, what did you observe?
When I rolled up, there was a decomposing head in the road standing upright. There's an old black plastic bag to the side, and there's an old mangy, like a stray dog with matted hair and all, kind of nasty, running around out there.
Okay. And where was it? Do you recall where that skull was located?
It was on the side of the roadway. It was actually on the Avon side, because we used the address of 858 Avon Avenue.
Now, when you're investigating a crime scene, is it important to document information?
It is, yes.
And you document the reports and also pictures?
Well, I didn't take the pictures. I called for our ID section to come take the pictures, and it's up to them to document their pictures.
Okay. No, what I mean is that it's important to take pictures of
Yeah,
crime scenes,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay. May I approach a witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 3 through State's Exhibit 20. Could you please look at those and tell the jury what those are?
They're pictures of the general area of where it was located, and ID had saw certain objects. They put the little plackets up at, and it's,
Could you look through those, please?
yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, at this time, I'd ask to admit states 3 through Exhibit 20, which are photos of the scene.
No objection.
Okay, Mr. Samuel, thank you. Exhibits 3 through 20 are admitted.
Yeah, in the middle of the road is kind of a weird
And I would
way,
ask
and apparently
to
it was a
publish
bleached
some of the
skull.
pictures to the jury as we go through the
It's
testimony.
not like an animal had
Okay.
walked out
Thank
there.
you. That's what I was waiting for you to ask.
Yes.
So ladies and gentlemen, as we discussed during the process of jury selection, I told you that I would warn you when we were going to show you photographs that are maybe graphic in nature. So I'm giving you a heads up that some of these photographs may be graphic in nature. Thank you. State may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Great. Could you kind of describe that picture in detail for the jury as best you can?
It's an overall shot of the area where the head was found.
Can you speak up a little bit?
Sir, I'm sorry.
If you
It's
could
a-
pull that microphone towards you, I think that'll be easier as well.
It's an overall shot of the area where the head was found, and the head's actually in the photo to the left here, or my left sitting looking at it. And you see where the patrol cars that blocked off the street.
But I do see some yellow things with numbers
Yeah.
on them. What are those?
Plackets, ID team uses, they see stuff, or maybe an investigator will point out to put a placket, take a picture so they can be described later in their reports.
Okay. What
They're
and what other items were there other than the placards?
whether
Or I'm sorry, what other items were there than the skull that you described earlier?
there was a black plastic bag. It appeared to have decomposition in it, hair and fluids.
And was that significant to you as a investigator?
Yeah, later, when the cadaver dogs were called out, other body parts were found in the black plastic bag. Also had fluid in it that ended up being bleach.
So when you saw those pieces of evidence, I assume that was kind of the first thing that was kind of done at the scene?
Yes, I cannot legally touch any body out there. It's all up to the medical examiner. I can look at it, I can have photographs taken of it, I can note it, but that's entirely up to the medical examiner's office to do any collection of body or body parts.
Were they contacted? Did you guys contact them or?
Yeah, they came out to see.
Okay, do you recall who came out to the scene?
Mary Beth Happel and Dr. John Parker.
Okay.
But Mary Beth is an investigator for Polk County Medical Examiners, and Dr. Parker was a medical examiner.
And what did you do? What did you do next?
Well, we started, hard to run an investigation if you don't know who your victim is, and this one's even doubly hard. We didn't know what sex the person was.
Why is that?
The decomposition of the facial and the torso, we never found it. So you couldn't ever determine a sex at that time. The feeling is the torso contains the guts of thing, and it would smell more, and the animals out there would have eaten it quicker.
Okay. Do you recall what the conditions were like that morning?
Yeah, I noted it.
Would you have noted that in your report?
Yeah, I think
I wrote
someone is
over with,
calling into us.
Lieutenant Biello and Investigator Miller. The weather conditions to be overcast with a intermittent mist, and the temperature was in the low 60s with a brisk breeze.
So after you got there and after the medical examiner got there, what did you do next?
Use a microphone.
Nothing could do much other than make a report.
Did you talk to any, do you remember speaking to any witnesses?
Well, there's a gentleman who had found the head. Gentleman's just in the wheelchair, but he wasn't in a wheelchair at that time.
Opening statements is in the morning video. I had to go cover the Brian Walsh case, and we're catching up. But opening statements is in the morning video. It's really hard to hear the state's opening statements, and if the defense can live up to their opening statements, we will see fireworks.
I talked with him. I sent him to the homicide office to give a statement, and the officer on the scene took him there for a statement.
Do you recall any other actions that you did out there at the scene that day?
That day, no.
Yes. Again, it's a 27-year-old
So at this
trial.
point, all you
Everyone
had
is
was
old as
a
dust.
skull and some plastic bags, pretty much.
Yeah.
Did anything, did you find anything else? And on a different day?
On a different day, yes. That's,
Were you called back out to the scene?
yes, went back out there with the medical examiner's office. They had gotten in some cadaver dogs from Cobb County. These people who owned the dogs were not associated with law enforcement in any way. They were just citizens who trained their dogs to become cadaver dogs and would help agencies as they needed it. And they came back out there, and that's when we started finding
A
hands, feet,
pillowcase.
and other body parts. They were also in a black plastic bag, like I described earlier, and they were always double wrapped. There was always 2 bags per body part. That trying to make sense with me there.
And I don't know, I don't know if you said, do you recall what date you went out to the scene?
The first, it was April 29th, and then this was June 3rd,
So that's approximately, what,
a month and a half later
month and a half later?
to get it set up.
Now, is the president, you mentioned bleach earlier,
I'm sorry.
you mentioned bleach earlier.
Yes,
Is that significant to collection of DNA?
it, not for the collection, for the destroying of DNA.
Your Honor, you've not been given an expert notice with regard to this witness.
Your response?
Well, Your Honor, I think that's not, I think it's something that a police officer can, based on police officers' evidence collection, could probably, could testify to as within their knowledge.
If you want to lay that foundation, I'll likely will allow it. Overruled for now, Mr. Samuel. Go ahead.
Okay. Did you learn about bleach?
Well, DNA, it's not the same as today. This was in the beginning stages of DNA. And a lot of things would interfere with DNA. When I worked sex crimes, if there was anal sodomy, the feces would ruin the DNA and you couldn't test.
Things not on my list today. Anal sodomy.
Learned that bleach and
Where did you
gas
training
training classes I took.
Okay.
That would,
She disappeared in 1998. Her body wasn't identified till 2003 when her dad went down for 5 murders. And her mom testified against her dad because she got immunity. You need to go back and see the opening statements. Things be cray-cray.
hurt DNA. Nowadays, they probably can do it even if there's bleach on it.
Well, what did you learn about bleach at that time?
That-
of your training?
That it would interfere with the ability to do DNA evidence with what they had to test with at that time.
Your Honor, at the time, I believe I laid the foundation based on his training.
And we still never got notice of him being an expert. So if he's giving expert testimony about DNA, we're entitled to be given notice of that.
I understand your objection, but it's going to be overruled, and to the limited extent you've been asked the question, I'm going to let him answer it. Go ahead.
Thank you. I think he's already answered it.
I think he has.
Okay. What did you do? After you went out and on the, in June, what did you do next on this case?
There was nothing I could do until, again, you can't start much of an investigation until you know who the person, what sex the person is, who the person is. You have nowhere to start. So Investigator Miller, who worked adult missing persons, is assigned to homicide. She would attempt to identify the body. Medical examiner's office was trying to identify, they could hook up with other medical examiner's offices and do the thing, and hook up and see if they had any information. I retired in 2000.
Okay, well, and that was, you never got an answer by the time you retired?
No.
Okay. I just have one more.
Sure.
Happen a second time.
That's okay.
It won't happen a third time. Detective Kelly, I don't believe we've met before, even though we've been around a long time together. So a couple questions. First of all, you said something about a dog on the scene. Do you have any reason to believe that that dog had ever moved the skull at all?
I believe so. I believe the dog drug it out of the woods. And
Or you're just speculating about that?
there was a video, the VHS recording.
Can you stick with the microphone?
There was a VHS recording at one time.
Yeah, it actually, someone asked yesterday what you think about witnesses who do this every time because they're answering the jury because they have been taught that this is the way you should do it. It's annoying as hell. Talk to the one who asked you questions and effing talk into the mic. You've been a detective since 1979. You have been around the block more times than most other people. You know how to testify in court. They should really start to teach these cops and medical examiners and whatever it is not to sit and do this constantly because it's so fake.
It showed the dog dragging the bag out of the woods. Now, I don't know where it's
Dragging
at
the
now.
bag with the skull out of the woods?
Yes,
There was no detectives out there until after the skull was already there.
VHS recording. That's a security camera. It's so old. It was
Where
VHS.
is the evidence of that?
I'm sorry.
Has anybody ever had evidence of that? Is that in any police report anywhere?
I don't know.
Are you just kind of making it up today?
No.
I've read every report you've ever written, every report every other
No,
detective has
you haven't
written.
written all written. There are reports missing. I don't know why.
What?
There are some reports missing. in
Have you
this
told the
file.
DAs there are reports missing?
Yeah. But I mean,
Which DA did you tell that there are reports missing?
gentleman here just questioned me
Uh-huh.
that I had more reports in this file and they're not,
And
Where
where's
to
the,
be
where's the,
found?
where's the VHS?
I don't know.
Did you tell them there was a VHS recording that's missing? You told
Yes,
Mr. Wilson that? When did you tell him that?
the other day when he called me.
You told him the other day?
Sir?
You told him the other day?
Yes,
Is there a
called
reason?
me
you-
last week. Yeah,
And what else did the recording show?
just that.
Did it show how the skull got there at all?
Just what I described.
A dog pulling it out of the woods? From what part of the woods?
Uh,
Well, it's not in your report, you know that.
I'm telling you, I have reports missing out of this file. This is not my whole.
What? So not only are they bringing a 27-year-old trial because apparently there is a new witness, they have the investigator who was the first on the scene claiming there's a VHS tape not mentioned in any reports showing a dog dragging the head out of the woods. And he is testifying, this is not all of my reports. Should the judge send the jury out now and we have a motion to dismiss?
Whole file.
Take your time.
When we were, is from a wooded area where when we returned with the cadaver dogs, it was coming from that area where the other bodily parts were found in the woods.
What did the dog look like?
Like it was a stray dog. The hair was all matted and nasty looking.
Was there any dog hair found on the skull?
I don't know.
Was there any testing done of the skull to show that a dog had moved it?
I don't know how you do that because remember the black plastic bag? It was ripped open. The dog was toting the bag and it fell out.
And you saw a video of that.
Yes, it
What did you do with the video?
was put in evidence.
You know, I think we need to take a break and talk to the district attorney's office for a moment here.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to step out for just a few minutes. It's 2:21. I'll try and get you back in here as quick as we can. Thank you all. All right, for the jury.
Wasn't there a lot of problem with evidence and stuff like that in the YSL case as well? What the hell? Well, she doesn't dismiss it because it's still ongoing. So,
Moment, please. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Lidak.
Don't wander far, okay?
why is it like this?
Mr. Samuel, that witness has now left the room.
Well, I have a couple questions. I'd like to know, first of all, whether Mr. Wilson will either corroborate or dispute that he's been given information about video camera evidence that's lost, his reports that are lost, evidence that they knew that the dog had dragged a skull out of the woods into the road. There's no police report about it. And now it turns out his actual statements are missing, all of which apparently he told the DA's office, none of which even comes close to ever having been revealed to us, ever.
Mr. Wilson?
If I could respond to this, Judge, because I was talking directly with this witness on this issue. if
Okay.
they'll allow it.
Well, sure.
I do have information about the comment about the dog from this witness. We were not able to locate the video. I didn't know there was a video of that description until I had that discussion with this witness. The detectives, Shepard, suspected that there was a dog or dogs in the area that may have carried the head out from the wooded area to the street where it was located. That's been his theory since the beginning of the case.
Right, but inferring that from the presence of a dog that Mr. McKeitern testified to is different than we recovered some sort of surveillance video that showed it, but then we lost it.
Sure, and that was never intended to be introduced into evidence by the state. That's why it wasn't elicited during direct.
Well, it doesn't matter if it was never intended to be produced. That should be turned over to the defense so they can. There's a big difference between some guy is walking down the street, finds a skull, or we have a video showing that this dog dragged that black bag out of this wooded area, because then they could say, well, again, this could have been hidden there, because it kind of sounds like if you just find a skull in the middle of the road, yeah, that's way different than it was hidden in this wooded area.
We had a video cassette. We had several small mini cassettes. At the beginning, before the case was indicted, those were submitted to a company in the cabinet, were transferred over to a thumb drive, which was submitted in Discovery. And they're labeled as such, converted VHS. It's in Discovery. But that's the only VHS cassette that I've received from APD Annex. The multiple times we've done it, I don't have a VHS cassette.
Okay, hang on.
don't know
The
if it's
physical
obituary.
nature of the physical medium in which the state might have it or not have it, I think is less important at this point than does the state have some sort of video that would line up with what this witness is saying he observed, like some digital video recording of that image?
I don't.
Okay, and so the videos that you're saying you were aware of that were reduced by a private company to a flash drive or something and were produced in Discovery, what are those?
Those are all statements, witness interviews.
Okay.
Which have been turned over.
Okay.
That's the only VHS cassette that I've seen in this case. A lot of mini cassettes that have also been converted. I only had one VHS cassette.
I appreciate that. Again, I think it would be easy to identify it if it was a VHS, in your possession. But I think more importantly is, does anybody know
Helen, I think Brandon is talking to some doctors right now. That's why he's not responding.
that such a video ever existed, whether on VHS or anything else?
I didn't have the documentation of that in the Detective Calhoun's report.
Mhm.
I didn't have documentation of that in Detective Shepard's report. And I did see in the reports that Detective Kelly had written that elicited that information. And of course, all the reports that I have from Detective Kelly appeared to be complete.
Okay.
I had no reason to believe they weren't. But so, like I said, I never intended that this information would come in because I didn't have a way to authenticate. Other than that detective testimony, I knew that wouldn't have been permissible to elicit.
So you wanted to hide it.
Testify to it.
Okay,
I never intended for that to come out.
Mr. Samuel? I think the answer to your first question is, well, actually, to be honest, now that I'm trying to put it in words, I'm not actually sure I'm clear on what the answer is. And that was why I was trying to make the distinction between the VHS and the video.
Let me explain to you how I see the problem. We have been working on this case, Mr. McDermott in particular, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for Lord knows how many months at this point. He's been in communication with the DA's office. There's been a lot of open file. And yet apparently they're not telling us about evidence that's lost, about videos that are lost, about their second witness on the stand who's saying he was the chief investigator in the case and some percentage of his reports are lost. Now, either the DA's office says they were oblivious to all of that and they learned that the same time I did, or they've known it all along and didn't tell anybody. Meaning you, us, the destruction of evidence, the loss of evidence that may be important, the loss of police reports from witnesses. From a chief investigator from the original crime scene, he says his reports are missing, and nobody's telling us that the witness is just going to, blurt that out on cross-examination for the first time. And, this business about bleach is not in his report. There's references to bleach in the report, but according to the crime lab that we interviewed, it had nothing to do with bleach in the bags. It was bleach that was done by the crime lab to clean the bones.
And that's a matter for cross-examination.
Well, but he's saying now he's saying I've got bleach in the bags. There's no report anywhere that says that.
And again, that's a matter for cross-examination unless there is some report that has not been provided to you. But I'm going to ask you to put a pin in that for a moment and revisit this with Mr. Fawcett or Mr. Wilson. I'm still not sure I understand the answer to the question, which is, before Detective Kelly took the stand, did the state have an understanding that he believed there were other reports that he had made that were missing, number one, and number two, that he believed there was a video showing what he's described about a dog with a bag in its mouth pulling it into the street, which was containing some body part or other? Two questions. What are the answers to those two questions?
Yes, I was providing that information last week when I spoke.
And you didn't tell it to the defense.
And what efforts did you take to determine if such evidence did in fact ever exist and or was lost or in your possession?
Well, I went back to the file to see if there were additional reports by Detective Kelly. So the reports from Detective Kelly, I sent him portions from the file that we turned over. I went through our additional discovery. I saw additional reports that were turned over. Similar reports to the first one. They were 1 or 2 pages, so not what he's discussing. But I wasn't able to locate any additional reports by Detective Kelly, and that's been through the several times that I've gone through the discovery.
Okay. And okay, so you were aware that Detective Kelly believed that there were other reports that were not in your file?
That was last week, yes.
Okay, but I understand you only became aware of it last week, but you did become aware of it at some point.
That's correct.
And what about the second question, which is, were you aware that Detective Kelly believed there was some sort of surveillance video that had been recorded at the time that reflected what he's described?
Yeah, that's the same conversation.
Okay.
Yes.
And did you disclose, and I'm not implying here that you were obligated to, we can have that conversation in a moment. My question though is, did you disclose to the defense at any time that Detective Kelly believed that there were reports that were missing or that he believed there was a surveillance video that was missing?
I did not have that discussion.
Okay. Mr. Samuel, I think I've gotten the answer to those questions. Go ahead.
Well, I have the same. The first question says, why would you not disclose that to the defense? That we're going to put a witness on the stand who, in essence, is going to ambush you on cross-examination because you think, defense counsel, you have all of his reports. We know you don't. So if you cross-examine him, you're going to find out that he's going to say, oh, that's absolutely true. I have got additional reports. They just were never given to you.
What obligation does he have to disclose to you?
The prosecution has an obligation to report missing evidence, right? A VHS camera. He can't just say, it's missing, so I'm just not going to bother asking questions about it on direct examination and let the defense attorneys walk into a trap where the witness can say, oh yeah, what other videotapes are missing? Do they have a videotape of the crime being committed they haven't told us about that was lost? I mean, this is somewhat not the most important thing in the case, whether the skull was dragged out of the woods or wherever it came from. I'm just very concerned if by witness number 2, we're discovering that the prosecution knows there's missing evidence, missing surveillance cameras, missing police reports. They know that that's true, and they're not even telling us that. It's bad enough that they're missing, which is understandable after 20 years to some extent. It's not understandable why they wouldn't tell us.
So the question then, Mr. Samuel, is what relief would you have the court give you in light of the fact that it wasn't disclosed to you? Is that not something that you can remedy on cross-examination and with his witness and argue?
I have no idea what he's going to say because I have no idea what this witness is going to say that hasn't been disclosed.
How can he remedy it on cross-examination when he can't cross-examine what is in the missing reports? What if he in one of them says, someone told me there was a tall, dark stranger? He doesn't know that. He can't answer ask that questions, which could potentially be helpful for the defense. So the remedy is just, hey, forget about it. This is what? Why are prosecutors like this? And why isn't this judge furious, sending the jury home and said, we're going to have a talk about this, and you better figure it out? Where is Judge Borowski?
To us. The whole point of discovery in a criminal case is you give us your witness statements. Now it turns out he knows a lot more about this case.
I understand.
Did they know? The
But that wasn't my
prosecution
question.
knows.
My question was, what remedy would you have me fashion to address this issue if I agree with you that this is a problem? Is it
I
go
think-
talk to the detective and figure out what he's going to say before you have to cross-examine him in front of the jury?
I was actually going to suggest that you tell the jury, disregard the witness's statement as of now. At some point later in the trial, if they want to bring him back after disclosing to us the statements he gave to them that's missing from what they gave to us, if there's something more than the VHS, something more about the bleach, something more about whatever I haven't, stumbled upon yet. When a witness talks to them, that's a witness statement also that hasn't been turned over to us. Not just the witness statement that's lost, but what he told them last week is a witness statement that hasn't been disclosed to us. You can't interview a witness, find out relatively important information and say, I'm not going to put it in writing, so the defense attorney's never going to learn about it.
Understand.
Apparently
I would ask that the
something they
witness
do a lot
You tell the jury not to
in
pay
Atlanta.
attention to what the witness has testified to, and we'll bring them back later in the trial if appropriate,
Thank you, Mr. Sanders.
after the prosecution does what it's supposed to do.
Mr. Fawcett?
Yes, I think I could understand, I still wouldn't agree with it, but I could certainly understand Mr. Samuel's position if we were going to take us, I guess where he's going with it, there's some nefarious intents and bad faith on the part of the prosecution to do that. I would say I am not immune to oversight or overlooking items, but hindsight I would have, but I will say this, I had no intention on not turning that information over. I didn't think it was.
But you didn't do it. Intent doesn't matter. You have an obligation to tell them, hey, by the way, I didn't know this, but this guy is going to testify there was bleach in the back. Oh, that's very interesting. We didn't know that. We only thought there was a skull in the middle of the road. No, there was bleach in the back. Okay, we might need to go over that. Oh, this guy tells us the skull was actually dug out from a wooded area. Interesting. We might need to change our defense. It doesn't matter that you didn't intend to not tell them. It matters that you didn't tell them. Jeepers Christ.
Was a consequence. I thought at the minimum it would benefit the state. But finding that information out on Friday or Thursday before the trial, I did think that was somewhat of an ambush. And again, also at the same time, I would say this. I believe the defense has contacted just about every witness that we've had on the witness list since the beginning of this trial. Detective Kelly's name has been in the discovery.
You had the information. You didn't turn over the information. Don't put it on the defense that you effed up. I'm going to hate this guy, won't I?
Since the discovery was turned over, there are 3 total detectives. And I know for a fact they subpoenaed detectives from the Patton investigation. And so if they had called the Detective Kelly, he would have been willing to speak with them. But to infer that there's some nefarious intent in the process of just simply preparing for trial and interviewing the witnesses, I think it's a bit much. At a minimum, at a maximum, I can understand the court
Not
instruct the jury to
intentional.
disregard the last statement, but to instruct the jury to disregard the entirety of his visual observations and testimony about that when he arrived at the scene, I don't believe there's any reason for the court to decide in that manner.
Okay. I have a couple of questions. Let me try that again. Has the defense spoken or attempted to speak to Detective Kelly prior to today?
We have not, Your Honor, and I'm looking for the state's witness list that was sent to us currently because I don't think we were ever given any contact information for him, and he's retired, so usually not kept by the police department.
That doesn't actually answer my question. Have you Is your answer that you haven't attempted to contact Detective Kelly because you weren't provided contact information and you weren't able to otherwise locate him because he's retired?
That wouldn't be 100% honest, no.
Okay.
If I could say, I'm not sure the blame should be on us.
I'm not implying that I'm blaming you. I'm asking what information did the defense have that they could have exercised in terms, right? I'm just trying to understand the scope of this. It'd be one thing, for example, if y'all had tried to contact the detective and he'd refused to speak with you. That's what I'm trying to figure out. So
I understand that's your question. I'm not quite sure.
No, that doesn't mean anything. They were told totally new information. They should call the defense. It's not upon the defense to go and elicit that testimony from a state witness to prepare them for information that the state didn't want to turn over. Am I totally wrong here, MG? If the judge would just enforce the rules and start declaring mistrials with prejudice when this kind of BS happens, the prosecutors would start working with integrity again. Exactly. They don't care because they know the judge will go head over heels to do whatever they can to help them. And they should do their job. They are getting paid enough to do it.
Consequence of it. If we trust the prosecution, that when they give us the reports, we have the reports. If we have to go and consult all 18 of the witnesses on the list now, all 30 of the witnesses last week, and all 150 in the original list, and say what is missing from your police reports, this case wouldn't have been ready to be tried this year.
okay.
But
Thank you, Mr. Samuel. So I still think that the answer to the way to resolve this in the most expeditious manner is for y'all to go into that conference room with Detective Kelly and find out what he's going to say is missing from his report. Because whether or not Mr. Fawcett should have told you is a different matter than whether or not this detective can testify truthfully about what he believes happened in response to questions. Mr. Fawcett is correct that they didn't solicit that testimony.
Help the prosecution.
And to the extent that you believe you've not been given complete information, Mr. Fawcett has made representations about what additional information he believes there is. And you can ask Mr. Detective Kelly those questions while we wait and bring the jury back in. I don't think, it's 2:40. I feel like an initial conversation with that detective to find out what else he's going to say and how many reports he thinks are missing. That's a fair conversation for y'all to have before I decide what to do about his testimony, or to simply have him retake the stand and let's continue his cross-examination with you having the benefit of the additional information that he believes is missing. Mr. Fawcett, or Mr. Wilson? I think he's technically your witness, but.
He is. And so the court's going to go in, would the court allow a recess for them to speak with the witness?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm proposing.
I think that's the way to do it.
Okay. So,
Hey, Dukes.
Mr.
Welcome,
Wilson, if you will go
welcome.
and gather Detective Kelly, and y'all can either discuss it in the lobby or you can go into that conference room in the atrium there, or you can go in that conference room and discuss it. And then after that.
Welcome, Dukes. This is a murder trial out of Atlanta. It's 27 years old. We just had the lead detective disclose that half his reports are missing, and apparently a VHS tape is missing. The state knew about it, but never told it to the defense. So they have just remedied that by going into a room, talking to him about what the hell are you going to testify about? Because we never heard about half the things you're saying. So this is a cray-cray case. A woman was unalived, and they found out who she was by using DNA from her mother, which was obtained when her dad was found guilty in unaliving 5 people back in the 70s, where he was the Flint River serial unaliver. Welcome.
Let me know what everybody thought in terms of what we need to do. Mr. Samuel, have you had an opportunity to talk to Detective Kelly?
I have, and he answered a couple of questions that were very helpful. And he explained what police reports he thought were missing and described them. He doesn't have anything more to say about the VHS. We're probably going to steer clear of that. We still think that ought to be excluded, that you should tell the jury to disregard that testimony because it's missing evidence. But I'm prepared to go forward. The missing reports deal with the June discovery of evidence, and he explained to me what was in his report, so I'm not walking into any dangerous territory there. And there's an issue about bleach, which is concerning, but we talked about that, and I think we both understand now the bleach issue, which you'll hear when we testify.
On cross.
A little
Okay.
bit of hearsay on both sides with the bleach, but I think we're in agreement that that's what we're going to do.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Fawcett, it sounds as if we've resolved this issue for purposes of having Detective Kelly come and retake the stand. It sounds as if the only general editorial I'm being requested or, ruling is to instruct the jury to disregard Detective Kelly's testimony about a VHS or some sort of video. What are your thoughts on that, sir?
I'm not objecting to that, Judge.
Okay. So what we'll do then is we'll have Detective Kelly return to the stand. I'll have the jury brought back out. When the jury returns, I will instruct them that they are to disregard any testimony from Detective Kelly regarding a surveillance video showing a dog. And then Mr. Samuel can resume his cross-examination.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Examination of this witness. Sir, do you understand? Any problem with complying with that instruction? Okay. Thank you all. Mr. Samuel, you may resume your examination.
Thank you. Detective Kelly, you mentioned on your direct examination something about bleach, and I want to clarify that as well. Am I correct that you don't have any independent knowledge that there was bleach in the bags? Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. In fact, what you've learned was that the bleach was put on the jawbone and on the skull at the crime lab or at the medical examiner's office, correct?
Yes, it was
Okay. So there wasn't bleach in the bags. There was decomposition of
fluid.
flesh and whatever, but there wasn't bleach that was put in the bag,
No,
correct?
yes, there's an understanding between me and somebody else.
Speak up a little bit for these old ears.
Yes, you're correct.
Okay, all right.
So what you testified to before was just bullshit.
All right. Now, you indicated before that you were missing some police reports, right? Or at least one. And during the break, you and I had a quick conversation, right?
Yes, sir.
And the police report that's missing is the one dealing with the second time you all went out to the scene. The first time is in April, the second time is in June. Is that correct?
Well, I was provided more reports that I did not have or was not given to me at this time. And then the one I'm referring to now is 6/3 of 99.
Right. And that one you don't have and nobody has, but you and I discussed it. So it's as good as if we had a police report, right? Okay. So in June, you go back out there and you're in the same general vicinity or somewhere out there. Is that right?
The wooded area.
Wooded area.
Yeah.
You're not on the road anymore.
Is it true that MG transitioned solely to call that pit 6 inches inside a strike just to set the record straight regarding size matters? I think that's what he meant. Is it true MG transitioned solely to call that pit 6 inches inside a strike just to set this record straight? Size matters. Thank you, Brandon. That's sports ball I don't understand. Fulton is as bad as Norfolk, just better accents. Thank you, Sue, for 21 months.
No, sir.
And now we have black plastic bags, no bleach or anything, but black plastic bags that have different parts of
Yes.
different parts of the skeleton, frankly, right?
Of human remains, yes, sir.
Human remains. Okay. And you gathered those up and they all get sent to either the medical examiner or the crime lab, correct?
Well, no, I did not gather them. I did
You were
not
present.
touch. I was present when
Yes.
it was being done. The medical examiner's office was there. They took custody of them immediately.
Right. And they take them either to the Fulton medical examiner or eventually the crime lab, or someone we'll be hearing from later on in this trial.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, did you actually see where the black bags were found in the wooded area? Were you watching as they were collected, even though you don't put hands on them?
Yes,
Okay. And the people who were putting hands on are
medical examiner.
they wearing gloves?
Yes,
I'm sorry. We have a
Medical
problem, double
examiner.
problem, my ears and your soft voice.
medical examiner and their investigator that was out there.
And they wear gloves, correct?
Yes, they
Okay.
wear gloving.
Right. And so on these bags, if there's DNA evidence on any of these bags, presumably it's not going to be crime lab people or detectives because you all are too careful about that, right?
They were, I was not touching anything.
Right. You don't touch them and they're wearing gloves like you see the crime lab people on TV always doing. Okay. Now, were these bags buried?
I remember some of them were buried very shallow.
Okay. So just kind of give us an overview. You're in a wooded area. They're like buried under leaves, or did you have to use shovels to dig dirt out?
I don't recall.
Okay, fair enough. It's 25 years ago.
27.
There were paths through the wooded area. Do you recall that?
Yes,
Okay. Were some of the bags just simply placed on a path?
I don't recall if they were placed simply on a path or not.
Okay, well, you wouldn't know. Placed is a verb that you wouldn't know, but were they located on the side of the path or right in the path?
I'm gonna say on the side.
Okay, so anybody walking on a path would have seen the bag, presumably.
You would think, yes.
Okay, and it's now June
Mhm.
of 1999.
Yes,
Okay, and that's the first time, as far as you know, that those bags were ever moved from the path or the side of the path.
yes.
Was there any evidence that you remember, or, and I know you don't have the report, it's missing, but in your memory, do you remember seeing loose dirt as if other people, the cadaver dogs, were digging up the ground as opposed to the bags being on the
I
surface?
don't recall.
Very good, okay.
Oh, it's going to get worse. I just looked
Those are
ahead.
my questions, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson, redirect?
They just have one.
Sure.
Don't go blocking people.
Statement.
Tina, Tina, Miller, Miller.
Where do you work, ma'am?
I currently work for the Gwinnett County Medical Examiner's Office
How long have you worked there for?
since 2018.
What did you do before that?
Prior to that, I worked for the Atlanta Police Department. I retired as a lieutenant in 2014.
Were you a certified law enforcement officer while you were working with the city of Atlanta?
That's correct, yes.
Could you kind of tell the jury about go quickly through your career as a law enforcement officer?
Okay. Right out of high school, I went into the United States Army where I was trained as a military police soldier. When I got out, my goal has always been to go into law enforcement. I got that basic training there in the military. When I got out of the Army, I applied to the Atlanta Police Department. I was hired in 1984, started my training with them, and retired in 2014. While at the Atlanta Police Department, I served in Zone 6 as a patrol officer. I was promoted to detective a couple of years later. I was assigned to narcotics, where I spent 5 years working undercover and buying and working drugs in the city of Atlanta. I spent 5 years working fugitive after that. Then I went to the homicide unit, where initially I worked aggravated assaults, and then went on to do adult missing persons in the homicide unit.
And could you describe the duties of an adult missing persons, exactly what you did?
Yes, any adult missing in the city, 17 and older, would come to my desk, and I would follow up on the case, contact the reporting person, and do legwork in an attempt to find the individual. Typically, what I would do is go out to neighborhoods. If they had a substance abuse problem, I would go out to the neighborhoods they were known to frequent and see if I could locate them, get word on the street that their family was missing them. And I had a pretty good success rate with getting them or finding them.
And were you called in to assist on a case of a skull found in April, the end of April of 1999?
Yes, I was.
Could you please tell the jury what the circumstances of that were?
I was working homicide and doing missing persons, and my lieutenant would have me go out on scenes where situations like that, if we had a missing person or we had somebody, we didn't know who they were. And on this particular day, the call came in that Uniform had responded to a call where there was a human skull in the roadway, and went out there with him and Detective Kelly. So I rode with the lieutenant, and we went out and secured the scene and took information and worked the scene.
And where was that located?
On Avon Avenue.
And was that in the city of Atlanta,
Yes, it was.
Fulton County, Georgia?
Yes, it was.
Did you, when you first got to, what do you recall when you first got to the scene?
Obviously, Uniform had responded, and they had blocked off the roadway with crime scene tape. And I remember seeing the skull sitting upright in the roadway with a white stick in front of it, or a painted white piece of wood. And there was a black trash bag, and also various items that had probably come out of the bag or off of the skull in the roadway.
And is it, I know you didn't do it, but is it important to document the crime scene using photographs?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm going to show you what's been previously marked in States Exhibit 21 and 22. I'm sorry, may I approach?
Yes.
Are you familiar with those?
Yes.
What are they?
They are crime scene photographs of extremities in a black trash bag that were found by me later when we went back out to the scene to search for additional remains.
And are those accurate, true and accurate depictions of the scene?
Yes, they are.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd ask that 21 and 22 be admitted into evidence.
Mr. McDermott? Okay. 21 and 22 are admitted.
Now let's go back to the 29th of April. I'm going to show you what's been previously entered as State's Exhibit number 3.
Do you mean the 28th of April or 29th?
29th of April, 2000.
Is that the initial call?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Right. Now you can see on the you can look on the screen, and that State's Exhibit 3 is that shows that depicts the scene at Avon Avenue.
Yes, it does.
Could you kind of point out to the jury what significant things are on the street?
Am I pointing up here?
Yes, actually, that's probably a good idea. Your Honor, witness have permission to leave the scene to help.
Sure. Just a reminder to speak up so that the court reporter and the rest of the courtroom can hear
Okay.
you. Thank you, ma'am.
Here we have the skull, which is now sitting upright with the white board in front of it. Here's the black trash bag, and these are items that either came out of the bag or came off the skull, because the skull was believed had been struck out in the roadway.
Did you closely observe that skull?
Yes,
And did there appear to be damage to the bone structure?
yes.
And what damage was there?
I can't recall specifically, but I can't recall specifically.
Marissa is 50, I think, and Zach is pushing 80. I think next year will be his 80th year on this planet, and we will celebrate it with much joy and say happy birthday, Zach, you old crusty.
Because there were pieces.
Show you what's been marked as States 4. And what does that show?
That shows, again, a different angle of the scene where it's down toward, I believe it's down toward Hartford, looking up Avon Avenue.
And what is significant in that picture as far as this investigation?
Again, you could see the skull, you can see the back black trash bag and other miscellaneous like parts that may have been skin or bone.
Let me show you what's been marked as States 5. What does that depict?
Closer photograph.
Show you States 6. Is that a different photograph of the?
Yes, this is more toward the railroad tracks, looking back to your right.
Be really nice to see these pictures they're talking about.
What's been entered, in States Exhibit number 11. And what is that a picture of?
That is the black trash bag.
There's a yellow card that has, for lack of a better term, the number
Ooh.
2 on it. What is
Correct.
that?
That is a marker that was, I believe it was put out by the medical examiner's office to indicate later that they could diagram what was there by the number and reference it later as to what was there.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked as States Exhibit number 15. And that is?
That's the actual skull in the roadway.
And where was that in location to? Are you familiar with the business next or very close to the Action Glass?
Yes,
How far is that away from Action Glass?
not very far. It's, if you walk back on the other behind, like going to the right here, you would go to the intersection and the glass company is right across the street at that intersection.
And if you observe the skull, was there any decompensation or decomposition
Yes, it was.
about that skull? How would you categorize that?
Advanced decomposition.
As the skull sat there, were you able to make any identifications at all?
Absolutely not.
Could you tell anything about that other than it was a skull?
No, not at all. Not on that particular day, no.
How long were you out at the scene?
Probably a few hours.
Okay. And did you do anything? Did you do anything else at that scene on that day?
I assisted with anything that the homicide investigators needed to be done, and I also assisted Mary Beth Hoptel in photographing by just showing her, pointing out different items in the roadway that may be related to the skull.
But she actually took pictures,
Absolutely.
not you.
No, I did not.
What else did you do that day?
I believe that was it.
Okay. Were you out there on a different, well, did you do any, what work did you do on that case starting that day?
Well, initially, the case was handled by a homicide investigator. And once the medical examiner's office collected the remains, because basically they handle remains or a decedent on the scene. And I was in communication with them and assisting the homicide detective in trying to find out who this individual was.
Was it important to find other parts of the individual?
Yes.
And had you been able to do that yet?
No, not at that time, not that day, no.
Okay. So what's the next significant day that occurs in your investigation?
The next time was probably, I think, June 3rd of 99. Initially, there was some question that particular head belonged to an individual that was not in the Atlanta area. The investigators were able to determine that head did not belong to the individual in Middle Georgia. They found all of their remains, and it was determined by dental that our skull did not go with that body. And so my supervisor suggested that I get a cadaver dog, and a cadaver dog is trained to sniff for human remains and go back out there, which we did.
Who all went out there with you that day?
The medical examiners had sent investigators out, and also the homicide unit was out there. And because the area we were going to check was railroad property, we had 2 railroad detectives as well assisting us.
And you remember what side of the street the skull was found on?
Correct.
Was that where you were searching?
We were searching, there's a wooded area which would be across from the skull, and we were searching the other side of that as well as that wooded area.
And were you able to find anything?
No,
How long were you out there searching?
probably all morning.
And you were also using a cadaver dog?
Yes, we were.
And there was, how many people do you think there was approximately?
Maybe 8.
How long did you stay searching at that?
They stayed for several hours, and then another call came up. And when the other homicide call came up, they all left to go handle that call. And me, the dog handler, and the 2 railroad policemen stayed.
And what happened next?
We were standing there discussing, kind of what to do next or further options. And a gentleman that owned
They found the body in April 99. So, but didn't someone say that the dad of the deceased had thrown a body on the rail line? Could it have been something? The reason it's there, if it's near the train track, that it fell off something, that someone had tried to stash it on the train so it'll be taken out, and then it fell off. And that could be why they never found the torso, because the smaller bags fell off, but the bigger bag stayed.
garage on the corner came out, and he said, you might want to check
It was out of the bag when they found it.
the wooded area behind my shop. He said people use that as a cut through, and there's people back there doing drugs, and you might want to check that. And we did.
And what did you find?
The railroad policeman didn't go with us, but me and the dog handler entered the wooded area, and there was kind of a path. So we're kind of walking through the path, and I'm following the dog. And The dog kept going, and I noticed off to the side a black trash bag, and I picked up the trash bag, and it was rather heavy. I opened the trash bag, and an item of clothing fell out, and it looked kind of moldy and off-colored. Well, there was another bag inside that was also it was heavy. And so I pulled it open, and when I pulled it open, I saw flesh. And I pulled it open a little more, and I saw the beginnings of toes on a foot. And at that point, I realized we found additional human remains, and I believe that to be a female foot.
Okay, who all was out there at that point?
Me and the dog handler.
And then what did you do next?
At this point, the dog had gone ahead of me, and the dog went around to an area kind of behind
It was, but it wasn't in a black bag. The black bag was next to it.
where I was, and found the leg and thigh that was in that photograph.
Okay, and let me go ahead and have you take a look at states 21. And what is states 21?
That is the thigh, lower leg bone that the dog hit on. Or
Was
lower bone.
that originally in a bag?
I believe so, but not when we found it.
Okay.
Because there's a trash bag that was nearby.
It'll get my channel struck. Gonna bet the dog.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as states 22. Could you describe it? Ed, what is that?
That is a black trash bag.
Was there anything inside of that?
Now, I can't tell from that photograph if that's the one that was next to the thigh and lower leg bone, or if that was another one.
How many trash bags did you find out of that scene?
I actually just dealt individually with the two, but other bags were recovered. Once I found realized what we had, I immediately contacted my supervisor in homicide to let them know we had additional remains and they needed to return to where I was, my location.
Now, let me ask you this: how far were those bags from where the skull was initially discovered?
Not very far. The street ran in front of the little junkyard car repair place. This was directly behind it, so not even a block.
And how long did you stay on the scene for that?
Several hours, because the medical examiner's office came out. We, searched that area and found the additional bags, and then they collected them. After they documented where they were, photographed them, then they collected them.
And there's a business action glass.
Yes,
How far was action glass from the discovery of the additional evidence on the photo?
right across the street,
So within
50 feet, if that far.
What did you do next?
On that particular day, again, the remains were collected by the medical examiner's office, and they were taken to the medical examiner's office for the examination. And I assisted the homicide guys with whatever. I had gone back and I checked again for my records, and I did not have a missing person fitting any description in that area.
So what did you do next on this case?
Again, just assisted you want me to fast forward?
Sure.
Okay, I was promoted out of homicide, and before then I worked with the medical examiner's office and trying to find out, did we have a white male, black male, male, female? What did we have with the skull? And the individuals at the medical examiner's office determined that the skull belonged to a white male. I didn't agree with that, but they were the experts. And so it was listed on the system as a white male. And what we did was we put the individual, we put the skull for sure, and we had to do them separately because at this point we didn't know they were the same person. I put the individual on GCIC, which is the Georgia Crime Information Network, and then there's the NCIC, which is the national database. And in a perfect world, that was set up so that when we put that information in, if there's a missing person that fits that description, as limited
No, he
as we
worked
have,
for some
we would
glass
put a hit on
company.
it, and it would say, hey, look at this person. This may be who this is. That did not happen.
Okay. May I just have a moment?
Yes.
What else did you have to do with this case?
Again, I met regularly with Dr. Terry and talked to her about the case.
Who's Dr. Terry?
She's, at the time, she was a medical examiner working out of Fulton County. She's a forensic pathologist that was looking, at the time, we were working together, looking at the unidentifieds that she had in her office and the missing persons I had in my office. And we were comparing notes, trying to get our individuals identified.
Okay, but as far as the scene and everything, that completed your work on this case?
Yes, that completed my work.
Nothing further.
Thank you. Mr. McDermott?
Your Honor, I hate to do this, but I've just received, literally just now,
This is Fulton County. I don't know anything about Fulton County, but I'm going to enhance the audio a little bit and then listen to what is said now.
Your Honor, I hate to do this, but I've just received, literally just now, about 70 or 80 new photos of this particular crime scene with bags. And I would ask the court to have a brief recess to be able to line some of these new photos up, choose a few to talk to her about this.
Okay.
Cross.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to step out for just a moment while we get
During the trial, potentially 60 or 70 new photographs of the crime scene. How in Hölle can this happen?
ready to examine this witness further. It is 3:32, and I'll have you back in here as quickly as I
He was a
can.
serial
Thank you.
killer.
All right, for the jury. Anything you need from me while you do that?
Not really, thank you.
Okay, then we are, say maybe a 10-minute recess until 3:45.
15 when we go further.
Okay, 3:50 it is. Cut to the stand, ma'am.
That doesn't seem like they wanted something.
As you're returning to the stand, just since we took a break, I'll just remind you that when you began testifying, you were sworn in and that you continue to be under oath. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Please have a seat. Mr. McDermott, you may begin your examination.
Ms. Miller, first of all, there's a T.R. Miller in several of the reports. Is that you also?
Yes, that's me.
Okay, thank you. You were called out, were you called out with the group on June 3rd? And that was when the parts were first discovered?
Yes.
Okay. And there was a second group that went out on the 4th. Were you also part of that group?
Good morning. We're talking about June.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
I think that was just one day that we were out there,
That you went out?
that we went out.
Okay. So I just want to be clear, you only remember going out one day?
There was the day where we found the remains, and we may have gone back another time and did a grid search.
Okay. That would have been like weeks later or several days later?
I can't recall.
That's fine. You mentioned a search that was done in conjunction with the railroad police?
That's correct.
That would have been across the street from Action Glass and the other businesses, right?
That's correct.
And nothing was recovered from that search?
No, it wasn't. The dog, one of the employees from the medical examiner's office was concerned about a black bag that was over there that the dog kind of looked at, urinated on, and kept walking. And turns out there was a dead dog in the bag. So the dog was.
What? So this is the murder central of Atlanta. Dead bodies, dead dogs. I need to see some hard evidence.
Was justified in passing it by.
Was that an active rail line at the time?
I believe it was.
So I want to show you a couple of more of the photos that were taken from the day the remains were found. If I want to show that to her, I want to share my screen now.
If you need her to identify it before you, in order to lay a foundation to have it admitted, you really need to show her in physical form if you are able.
Don't have that.
It is, perhaps you could show it to her on your
On my computer.
screen.
Yeah, I'll do that.
It is possible to only broadcast to one screen, but it's exceedingly difficult. Yes, sir. Granted.
I'll show her all four.
No, and
Go
it's
ahead.
27 years ago.
Is this for you? Does that look familiar?
Yes.
I'm I'm sorry.
That's okay.
We have one computer.
No, I understand.
Yes. 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 Yes.
So for the record, I've shown you 5 photographs.
Yes.
And those familiar to you?
Yes.
And are they fair and accurate representations of what you observed the day that you were on the scene
Yes.
on June 3rd?
Yes.
Okay. Permission to publish, Your Honor?
I'm going to let you
All right,
publish them, but can you give me a designation so for our,
These would be defense 1 through 5.
okay?
And
And
move those to evidence, please.
defense exhibits 1 through 5, Mr. Wilson, any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, exhibits 1 through 5 from the defense are admitted and you may publish.
Thank you. I hope this works. And on top of that, I understand you have a plane to catch.
I do, sir.
Fine.
We don't know. But apparently it wasn't a big deal. It took 15 minutes to clear up.
Another time. Finally. And can you describe what's going on in this picture?
That appears to be the area where the thigh and lower leg bone was.
Okay. And does that appear to be in what you described earlier as a kind of a walking path or a cut through?
That's actually, the walking path is further over to the upper part of the screen. This was a lower area closer to the street,
Okay. So that was close to the street or closer to the street?
closer to the street.
Okay. All right.
Yes, it is.
And is this the same item
Show it.
Yes, it is.
from a different perspective? Okay.
Yes, it is.
All right.
For record purposes, was that D1 and D2?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Three. And can you explain what we're looking at here?
It looks like one of the black trash bags.
And is that in kind of a clearing
Uh,
or a little path? A
It
little
looks
path?
like it may be off the path.
Okay. Is it visible from the path?
I don't recall. I don't know where the photographer was standing in relation if he was on the path or she was on the path.
What are we looking at here? Defense 4.
Another trash bag.
And can you remember or recall the general location of this as to where you were looking?
No, not without looking at a diagram.
Okay.
Bags,
And final one, defense 5. What are we looking at here?
again, that looks like trash bags. And if I'm seeing this correctly, that looks like the thigh and lower leg bone, over to where the number 2 is.
Okay. And again, this same difficulty with the location.
No, it's going to be, if that's the leg bone, that's going to be on that further side.
Okay. Further side meaning from Avon Avenue back further behind the business.
If you come in off Hartford,
Okay.
this would be to the right more so than where the foot was that I recovered.
Okay.
This
I
would
see.
be off to the right. It appeared at the time that perhaps an animal had tore open that bag and it was off to a right, more toward the street.
This one, this back here?
Correct. Again, if I'm seeing that correctly, and that is the thigh, there was a bag nearby that thigh.
Is it fair to say that this is not stuffed back in the brush?
No, this was the thigh and the lower leg was pulled out from the
Well,
brush.
did you see it pulled out?
No, it was found
Right there.
right. It was found not in a bag anymore.
Okay.
With a
in that
bag nearby.
location.
Yes,
Okay. And as it is in that location, it's not shoved up in the brush or anything.
no, it appeared to have been pulled out of the brush. It was more in a clearing area.
Thank you. You said one of your jobs was to point out items that may have been associated with the skull in the road. This is, of course, going back to April 29th. Is that
That's
correct?
correct.
And did you find any other items?
Just the pieces that appeared to have either come out of the bag or off the skull.
And some of those were far down the road, correct?
They were a little further down, not too far, but further down.
And is that what you were referring to when you said it looked like it had been possibly hit by a vehicle?
That's correct.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson?
Thank you. Very briefly.
That's fine. Thank you.
May I approach?
Yes.
And I've shown you a picture of exhibit number 2. Do you recognize that, what that is?
Yes, I do.
What was that?
That's the area, and it's an overview of the area where the skull and the additional remains were found.
And is that an accurate description of how the streets and how that part of the town looked?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time I'd ask that case number 2 be admitted into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
Exhibit 2 is admitted.
I'll go ahead and publish that.
Go ahead.
Show us
Thank
what it is. Show us
Okay.
what it is.
Can you step off of the stand and point to where the skull was?
Okay. Your
Or
Honor,
actually, first, before you do
Yes.
that, can you just describe what that is for the jury?
it's an overview of that neighborhood. It's a little different now than it did back then, obviously. The skull would have been found in this area, right here, right in here. This was at the time, I don't know if it was a junkyard or a mechanic shop. There was a gentleman that either owned that or worked there that was the one that referred us back here. And this is Hartford Avenue. This is the glass company, and the train tracks were back here on the other side of this grassy area, or not grassy, but with the vegetation.
And when you described that you were searching on the 6th, or in June, what area did you first focus on?
When we went out there with the cadaver dog, it was this area. We went further down and started at the end where the tree started and came down. And once the additional call came up where everybody kind of left because we had not found anything, we were standing at this intersection, the dog handler and the 2 railway policemen, when the gentleman came out and he told us about coming back here. I believe this may be a more modern picture because there were no houses. The houses were down here at that time.
And that's where you found the remains.
Correct.
You can have a second. Thank you.
Come on. Come on. Ask some questions. Poop or get off the pot.
I'm showing you what's been marked as state 64. Is that familiar to you?
Yes, it is.
And could you describe it?
They're black trash bags that are in the wooded area.
And I'm also going to show you what's been marked as state 65. Is that familiar to you?
Yes, it is.
And what is it?
It's another black trash bag in the wooded area.
And are those fair and accurate representations of how you found things?
Yes, yes, they are.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd ask state 64 and 65 be entered in or admitted into evidence.
Mr. McGovern?
No objection.
64 and 65 are admitted.
Thank you. And I'd like permission to publish these.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, as you can see on there, where was this found?
It was in that wooded area.
Was that off the path, or when you answered earlier questions about being on path or off the path? Do you
So
recall?
South Carolina
This
will
was
be
all-
indicted with witness
Do you
arrest.
recall what were in those bags?
No, I don't.
But those are relevant?
No, there were remains in the bags that were collected by the medical examiner's office.
But that's how they were found.
Correct.
Show you states at 65. Okay. And what is that
That's
picture describe?
another bag that was in that area. And I'm not sure if that's the bag that had the foot in it, because I really can't tell. If I got to look closer, maybe. I can't tell, but there were remains in the bag.
Would you like to take a closer look at it?
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to
Okay.
tell.
And where was that bag?
Again, in the wooded area.
The same general area?
Yes.
Nothing further.
Any questions on those questions, Mr. McDermott?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. You
State call.
right hand, he'll swear you in. When you do, just be careful of that ledge. Spell your name.
O-N. It's Tina Mae Patton, Patton.
Mr.
So this is the mother.
Patton, good afternoon.
Hey,
All right. Can you tell the court what part of the county, where are you from?
I'm from Henry County.
All right. And are you familiar with the name Melissa Wolfenbarger?
Yes, sir.
All right. How do you know Melissa Wolfenbarger?
She's my sister.
Okay.
Oh, Tina,
you had any
or
other
his
siblings?
sister.
No, just her.
All right. And is that your biological sister?
Yes.
Can you talk about where you and your sister Melissa Wolfenbarger grew up?
Well, part of my life, we were in Ellenwood, Forest Park area. And then the other part, most of the time when Melissa was in school, we were in Stockbridge or McDonough, Locust Grove,
Okay. How many years did you live in the same household with Melissa?
until I was 18 when I left.
Okay. And are you the same age as Melissa, or you guys different ages?
No, she's younger. There's
Okay.
7 years in between me and Melissa.
All right. And who lived with you and Melissa in?
So didn't they say she found the dead baby when she was 12? So she would have been 19 when she had her baby that she dropped in the dirty laundry. Cross is going to be interesting.
Your residence growing up?
It was me, Melissa, my dad, well, our dad.
It's not the Hamper sister. Oh, different sister. I thought there was only one sister, Tina.
And our mom. And for a little while, our granddad on my dad's side, Papa,
Okay. And what is your mother's name?
Norma,
And what's her last name?
Patton,
And what is your father's name?
Carl Patton.
Okay. And were your mother and father together throughout
Sir.
your childhood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what type of relationship did you have with your sister growing up?
Well, there were 7 years between us. So we were doing different things at different ages. I mean, there were 7 years between us. So when I was 7 and was out playing and stuff, she was a baby. So we wasn't that close. I mean, we lived in the same house and we played outside and stuff, but we wasn't like 1 year between us that kind of close.
Okay. And do you live with anyone now?
Just my husband.
Okay. Now, you said that you lived in the same household with Melissa until about 18. Is that correct?
I was 18 when I left.
And what did you do? What did you do? And where did you go when you left the residence?
Well, when at 18, when I left, I was in Stockbridge probably for about a year with my dad's Aunt Marie with her daughter, Elaine. I lived with her for a little while. And then after that, I ended up in Las Vegas, actually, Nevada, and
Okay.
had my son out there.
All right. And when do you make your way back to the Georgia area?
When my daughter was, let's see, she was born in 90. So probably about February of 91, we came back to Atlanta. Well, I came back to Atlanta with both my kids.
All right. So it's February 91. You left at 18. Roughly how many years passes between those two events?
3 years.
All right. During that period, did you keep in contact with your family members?
Yeah. Melissa came to Tucson, Arizona and lived with me for a little while
Okay. All right.
before I had Kimberly.
All right. That would have been during that 3 year period.
Mhm.
So from say 18, 19 to mid 20s. All right. And so when you came back, did you live by yourself or live with someone else?
No, I went back to mom and dad's house,
All right.
and Melissa was still at home.
All right. And so you're about, say, mid-20s during that period?
2021.
All right. How long did you?
According to the defense, this woman went to prison for disposing or got convicted of disposing a baby in a hamper because she wanted to cover up her pregnancy.
Stayed at the residence with Melissa and your mother and father?
I stayed there pretty much until 90. Well,
But then she must have had a baby, moved in with her aunt, went to Vegas, had 2 kids, and moved back to her mom within 4 years. Am I getting this timeline correct? And I'm single.
probably late 94, probably when I left again.
Okay.
But I'm thinking about 95 because 95 was when I got married to my first husband, David. And that was in early 95 though.
Okay. How long? It's okay. All right.
So it was probably about October or so of 94, I guess,
All right.
when I left.
Were you employed, working anywhere during?
I wasn't working. I was pregnant at that time.
Okay. And at some point, did you start working?
When I went back home,
And where did you start working?
Waffle House
All right.
again.
All right. How many years did you work at Waffle House?
Off and on for about 20.
Okay. And during that period, while you've been employed at Waffle House up until the time that she disappeared, did you keep?
Yeah, but didn't they say she found the baby when she was 12? And if there's 7 years between them, then she must have been 19. But she left the house when she was 18, moved to Las Vegas shortly after, stayed in Vegas for 3 years, and came back again at 21, 22. Then the 12 years, maybe she was 11 and she was 18 and she unalived the baby and moved out after that?
Contact with Melissa Wolfenbarger.
Not, I was kind of mad at my parents. Well, more mad at my mom. I was upset with my mom. So I really didn't call home much. But all of a sudden, one day, somebody comes up to me at Waffle House and says, guess who you're going to be training tonight? And I'm like, who? They said, your sister. And I'm like, what? And she was married then. She was already married to Chris.
Okay. And what year was that, if you can recall?
97.
Okay.
Yeah, 97.
So that was roughly the year before she disappeared.
Mhm.
All right. So what type of work would Melissa do at Waffle House?
Well, she worked third shift with me. She was a server.
Okay. You recall how long she worked at that location? And what location was that, if I didn't ask you that?
It was close to the airport, Virginia Avenue, next to where Spondivas is. So the corner of Virginia Avenue and Bobby Brown.
All right. So roughly about 3 months, do you recall the time period?
Probably about 6 months because she had gotten her vacation pay. And Waffle House, you get a vacation check every 6 months.
Okay. All right. Are you familiar with Christopher Wolfenbarger?
Yes.
How do you know Christopher Wolfenbarger?
He was married to my sister.
Well, family tree, as well as I can do it, is this one I have shown a couple of times. Chris is the defendant. Let me embiggen this. Chris is the defendant. He was married to Melissa. Tina is the sister, I understand now. She, according to the defense, either unalived her baby or had a stillborn baby that she hid in a dirty clothes hamper where Melissa found this baby. She has some conviction on that one. Then you have Carl Patton. That's her dad. He was convicted of 5 homicides in 2003 that he did back in the 70s. He is known as the Flint River Killer. And then you have not Mona. I put the wrong name in. That's the mom. The mom testified against the dad because they gave her immunity. Apparently, she helped clean up the house when he unalived at least 2 people in front of her. I think that's about, well, then Melissa and Chris had 2 kids I haven't put in here. one of them will be testifying. These two kids were given up by Melissa to Chris's parents. Probably thought, not going to bring them back to that home. And Melissa then also was banging a dude called Dixon. So if you're confused, welcome to my world.
Do you recall at what point in your life you met Christopher?
Yep. It was 95 when I got married.
All right.
The day I got married actually was the first time I ever met him.
And were the defendant and your sister in a relationship at that time when you met him?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall how long they were in a relationship when you first met him?
No, because, well, it wasn't. It had been a while, I
Norma,
guess.
yeah.
Because when she came to work with me at the Waffle House, they were already married.
All right. How many?
It's 95 when I first met him, January.
95. And you recall how much time passed between you first meeting him to when he got married?
Probably about not too long. I think it was only a month or two.
Okay. Did your sister and the defendant have any children?
Yes, they had two,
Do you recall their names?
Christine and Joey.
All right. Did you get an opportunity to spend time with them as they were growing up?
No, because I was working all the time.
All right. Prior to the defendant and your sister getting married, how much time would you say you had a chance to spend around him?
None.
Okay.
None.
After they got married, how much time would you say you had an opportunity to spend around the defendant and or your sister?
I spent more time with her than I did him.
Okay.
The only time I ever saw him was when he would come up there to the Waffle House to drop her off or pick her up.
All right. If you saw him in court today, do you think you could recognize him?
Oh, I know his face very well.
Okay. If you could point to
He's
Christopher Wolfenbarger.
Right there, black hair and the gray suit.
Okay. Thank you.
If you would, ma'am, sorry, but for my court reporter, if you'll, you're fine so far. You don't need to repeat
Okay.
anything, but if you'll let the lawyers finish their questions all the
Oh,
way
sorry.
before you start to answer. Thank you.
Got it.
Go ahead.
Your testimony was that Christopher Wolfenbarger would visit the Waffle House,
Mhm.
Virginia Avenue near Spondivis.
Yes, sir.
How many times do you recall him doing that?
All the time. Every time she had to work.
And what would you see him doing during that period?
Most of the time, just watching what she was doing.
Like to
And you familiar with the name Troy McClendon?
Yes.
Who is Troy McClendon?
Troy was my boyfriend at the time when I worked at that Waffle House with Melissa.
All right. And did you ever see Troy at the Waffle House?
Every day he worked the same shift that me and Melissa worked, third
Okay.
shift.
Can you tell the jury if Troy was ever at the Waffle House at the same time that Christopher Wolfenbarger was at the Waffle House?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And do you recall a confrontation between Troy McClendon and Christopher Wolfenbarger?
Yes, I do.
Now,
apparently, according to the opening from the defense, they were signed off to Christopher's parents by Melissa. And can I just ask a question? Because Valhalla doesn't want to take me to Waffle House. The third shift at Waffle House, that's Fight Club shift, right?
without repeating anything that that anyone else said during that encounter, can you tell us what you observed happen?
Melissa was running late this time. She was running late getting there, and I was standing in the back by the office door, just looking out front, watching what was going on, because it wasn't time for me to go out front yet. The manager was counting the money for us to take out. And Melissa came in. She came through the swinging door at the back where I was, and I looked at her, and she had tears in her eyes. And her nose was red, her eyes were red, because that's always how she got when she was crying. We all do when we're crying. And everybody in my family anyway. And I noticed that she had like red marks around her throat. And I said, Melissa, what's wrong with you? What's going on? Wait a minute. Is that a handprint around your throat? And she just looked at me, her eyes filled with tears. And I said, did Chris do that to you? And she just looked at me. She didn't really say nothing. And then I just turned and was going to go out the door. I was going to go say something to Chris.
Okay. Did you?
She wouldn't let me. She stopped me. She said, you'll make it worse.
Can you tell the jury what happened after that?
I went out front, Troy evidently heard me in the back room saying something to Melissa. So he was coming towards the swinging door when I was going out. He said, "What's going on?" I said, "He hit my sister again."
What happened after that?
Troy went over there and confronted him and hit him. And he just looked out the window.
I'm sorry.
Chris just looked out the window.
Okay. How long did that continue?
Not long, because one of the other employees came and grabbed Troy and pulled him away and got Chris out the door.
Okay. Now, what period of time, if we're trying to orient you, you started, I think you said you during that 6-month period during 1998.
Sorry.
Okay. So if we're looking at that beginning of 1998 period, can you tell the jury as best you can, when did that happen?
That was more towards the end of 97.
Okay. Now, is that the only confrontation with Christopher Wolfenbarger that you can tell the jury about?
And that's the only one with Troy.
Okay. Did you end up having another confrontation with
Yes,
Christopher
I did.
Wolfenbarger?
I did.
All right. Can you tell the jury how that happened?
Melissa had come and stayed with me for probably about a week. It was supposed to have been longer than that. So we would sit up at night talking about stuff, and then all of a sudden she decided she wanted to go home because the kids. So I took her home and she was getting out of the car and I was getting out with her and I was going to hug her to tell her goodbye. And he came out of the house, Chris, and was coming down the steps. And he called me a bad name. He called me a B. And I started going up the steps. He said, "If you put your hands on my sister again, I will beat your butt." And she grabbed my arm and said, "Tanmay, shush. You're going to make it worse." She always said I would make it worse.
Okay. Anything happen after that?
No.
Okay.
She quit after that.
And around what time period was that?
That was within a month after the confrontation with Troy. So about a month.
Okay. Okay. Now, I want to turn your attention back to at the time that you were working at Waffle House with your sister. Can you tell the jury if anything you can recall about what the defendant told you that what might have been cause for concern with you, especially considering the disappearance of your sister?
As far as what she said?
Did you have any conversations with the defendant, or did you overhear the defendant make any statements about anything in particular that was a concern for you?
Yeah, we were sitting having breakfast one morning, me, Melissa, Chris, Troy, and there was another waitress sitting there, Diane. She was a friend of mine. She'd been working with me for a while, and we were all sitting there eating breakfast, just having a conversation, talking about whatever. And then all of a sudden, Chris pops off with, "Well, I know how to get rid of a body if I need to." And me, Diane, and Troy looked at each other like, "What?" Because we were just talking nonsense about silly little stuff or about the news of the day or whatever, just cutting up laughing. And then all of a sudden this comment comes out of his mouth.
Okay. And your testimony, you don't recall the context or what happened or what was said before that?
Well, that was the thing. It wasn't like we were talking about being.
Just in 27 years, when you are on the stand testifying against me, yes, I did say something about where not to stash a body earlier. It was a joke. It could be taken out of context just because in 27 years they will find certain body parts right next to where I live. It has nothing to do with the conversation we just had. He also said, "I'm gonna cut her in 5 pieces and the torso will never be found." And he said it as clear as day.
Mean to somebody or killing people or nothing. We were just sitting there cutting up about little silly stuff. And then
Because in 2017, some forensic, some crime scene investigator who likes cold cases started looking at this again. And last year, the state had a new witness, and apparently they had some new forensic method that we don't know what is yet that can prove he did it. Even though they have no blood, they have no DNA, they have no tools, they don't have anything. But they have a witness that will solve the case.
And all of a sudden this comment comes out. And we're all like shocked because it's like, where did this comment come from? Why would he say something like that?
At any point, did you ask the defendant about that statement?
Oh, no.
Okay. Do you recall if anybody else asked him about it and if there was a response from him regarding that?
No, nobody said nothing. Everybody was just surprised, shocked.
Okay. Now, if Melissa stopped working, you said after that 6-month period at Waffle House, did you see her again after that?
In March for
Okay.
my birthday.
All right. And what year of March was that?
98.
Okay. All right. So, and would that have been the same time that she would have ended her tenure at the Virginia Highland Waffle House?
I didn't know that she was working at that one because when I saw her that night, she told me she was working at Doryville.
Oh, okay. All right. But was that after she had left the location she was working with you? I'm trying to make
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You said Virginia Highland.
Gotcha.
We were on Virginia Avenue.
One moment, Judge. When you came back, they were in a relationship, but it was before they were married.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to give
Marissa
a
finds
verbal
the family
answer.
or
So
Jemima.
was that it? That was a yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem. So, do you recall when Melissa left the residence?
That I don't.
Okay.
That I don't. I don't know when she actually left from home. I know in 95, when I got married in January,
You can talk about what deceased people have told you or what the defendant in a case has told you. You can't say that Troy asked him, hey, I was looking at getting rid of my girlfriend. Do you know how to do it? But you can say, if he answered, I know how to dispose a body. You can say that.
she was still at home, but they were dating at that time.
All right. Now,
STDs and fights is what I hear. is on
have
the
you,
menu.
let me ask you this. When was the first time that you had a concern about the whereabouts of your sister, Melissa?
When my dad walked into the Waffle House in February of 99 and asked me where my sister was.
Okay.
Remember, she has been missing from or about Thanksgiving Day is the last time they hear from her. And the family, who is so concerned, doesn't start looking till February, just because they were very concerned.
Why was that a concern for you?
Because it was right after Mom's birthday. Mom's birthday is February 24th. If my sister didn't go see my mom, call my mom, or send her a card for my birthday, then something was wrong. Because Melissa always called Mom or got in touch with Mom or something on her birthday. Always. She never forgot Mom's birthday. I did. But she always remembered Mom's birthday.
Okay. And so this is February of 99. After he comes into the restaurant, what do you do after that?
Nothing. I just was like, I was surprised. I remember I called my grandmother and asked her why Dad was looking for Melissa. Because at the time he came in, it was lunchtime. So I was kind of busy. So I couldn't really sit down and talk to him and have a long conversation about what was going on. He just came in and said, where's your sister? And I was like, I don't know why. He said, well, I went to go look for her and I can't find her nowhere. Nobody knows where she is. I said, well, Dad, she doesn't work.
Just a moment, Mr. Bossett.
I can move on with the additional questions.
And just as a reminder, ma'am, we generally, unless we're asking you to not necessarily tell us what other people told you, unless we specifically ask you about that, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Bossett.
At any point, do you make any efforts to locate Melissa?
Well, I knew that they were looking, so I myself didn't.
And when you say they, who are you referring to?
Mom and Dad.
All right. And specifically, did you make any attempts to reach out to law enforcement or anything of that nature?
I did, but it wasn't until 2015.
Okay. And how did you go about that process of reaching out to law enforcement in 2015?
Well, the thing is, in 2015, there was a lot of the ID discovery shows. I kind of got addicted to them, and we already knew by then that Melissa had passed. So I kind of got angry, and that's when I really started trying to reach out to them and push.
Okay. So these are shows where crimes are being solved?
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. So you started trying to reach out. Who you started trying to reach out to?
City of Atlanta or anybody that would listen. Nobody wanted to really talk.
All right. And are you aware of any investigator was working on that case at that time?
It was Calhoun at that time.
All right. How did you come to find out about the particular officer involved?
Actually, Calhoun, we had already talked to him.
Did she say 2015 is when she wanted people to look at it? She got addicted to it. What was that? What she said? To have someone look at this case? Because the coverage I saw was they instantly started looking for her and tried to drum up interest for the case.
Before that, it was, I think, 2003, I think it was, when we talked to him.
Okay. And 2003, was there anything else of significance that happened in 2003?
That was when we found out that she was dead.
Okay. Well, anything prior to that?
That was the same time that my dad was arrested.
All right. And what was he arrested for?
Murder.
All right. And so does it, your dad's arrest for murder, does that happen before or after you find out that Melissa was the identity of the remains?
Actually, it was the same time
Okay.
that I was notified.
I see. Okay. But you recall that as being the same year?
Yeah.
2003?
Same year, same day.
All right. And from that 2015 period up to, I guess, the point that we are now, did you make any additional attempts to contact law
Oh,
enforcement?
yeah. I
And
tried.
who did you contact and how many times did you try to do that?
Every time, well, 2015 was when I decided I was going to get the folder, the file on Melissa.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I was trying to get the file on Melissa.
Okay.
On the case. I had problems getting it. I filed the Open Records Act probably 3 times. And they kept sending me emails back saying, no, they couldn't find the file. There wasn't a file.
Okay. And how many times did you attempt to do that?
Hold up. Didn't the defense say that there was that 13-year minimum before someone convicted of life in prison could potentially get a parole? That would mean if he got convicted in 2003, when she started getting really interested in Melissa's case again, is just about the time where they would start doing the parole. So she didn't care for her sister enough that she wanted to keep the case hot for 12 years. But around the time where her dad's potential parole could come up, she all of a sudden gets really addicted to true crime and jumps back on the case. Am I missing something?
That was 3 times then.
And in what age? You said Atlanta Police Department you were to?
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
Yes. Sorry.
All right. Did you do anything else besides that? Try to get the open records request?
Yes. After the 3rd time, I had come down here the 3rd time in person and filed it. I'd already talked to somebody with Henry County Sheriff's Department that came to the restaurant where I ate at. And he said, well, if there's a file.
You can't say what someone else said.
He just gave me a suggestion about what to do about the file.
All right.
I'm going to object to relevance, Your Honor.
I'm going to allow it. Overruled. Go ahead.
Okay. Did you reach out to anyone that wasn't with law enforcement?
Yes.
And
Well, no, she's really with law enforcement.
okay. All right. And did you continue to do that throughout that period of 2015?
Anybody who would listen to the story I told.
Did you conduct any interviews with any reporters or anything related to the story?
Of course.
Okay. And what was the point or purpose of you doing that?
Getting Melissa's story told.
And why were you trying to do that?
Because we wanted answers about her murder. We wanted an arrest.
But you didn't want it for 12 years.
Okay.
Did I misunderstand what she
Now, did
what she was?
you
addicted
and
to?
Melissa
Was
have
she
any
addicted to
conflict
drugs, and
as you
that's
were
why
growing
she didn't do anything?
Of course. I mean, we were sisters.
Okay,
There's always some kind of conflict.
all right.
Nothing life changing.
And the two instances where you were testifying as to the encounter that you had with the defendant at Waffle House and then at the residence, is that the only encounter that you had with this defendant?
Yeah.
All right.
As I understand it, the last talk to her around Thanksgiving, and her dad came to her at the Waffle House and asked if she'd seen Melissa, sorry. But when I read the reports, the talk they had at Thanksgiving was about Christmas. So the only time they figure out, oh, she must be missing, is because she doesn't call at mom's birthday. What about Christmas? Wouldn't you get in touch with her and say, hey, we have Christmas gift for your kids? Are you stopping by for Christmas? Let's have an eggnog and whatever you have. No, it was her mom's birthday. She never missed that. Christmas, yeah, she didn't care. Fat Santa, don't like that guy.
That's all I have, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. McDermott?
This is going to be interesting. Well, I don't know if I'll call it lying. I don't think there's anyone claiming she lies. We are asking, why the hell didn't she start why didn't she keep this case warm in 12 years? It was when her dad went to prison till the year before he potentially could get parole. She didn't give 2 cents about it, and then all of a sudden she got addicted to true crime. And then she started talking about it. Her sister had been missing for 17 years at that point.
You've spoken to the press and media a lot of times, haven't you?
Of course.
One of the things you've said is you've described how you and Melissa are kind of polar opposites.
Yes.
Uh,
We were.
She was a quiet, shy,
Mm-hmm.
reserved,
Yes.
and you were not quiet, shy.
Right. No, not at all.
Uh,
I'm
you
pretty
describe yourself
outspoken.
a little bit more rebellious
Yes.
when you were younger. You described a period earlier that you had left for a couple years and didn't talk to your mom.
Yes.
And you previously told detectives that you couldn't talk to your mother. You just didn't get along with her.
I didn't get along with her for quite a while.
Okay. You described yourself as a daddy's girl
I was.
and Melissa as a mama's girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Wait
Now
for the
let's
question.
just talk about this briefly. You've been in a little bit of trouble yourself too, haven't you?
Yes.
You were most recently convicted for possession of methamphetamines. Is that correct? That was in 2021.
Yes.
And did you have a similar charge in 2022 or 2020?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have previous drug charges before that?
No.
Okay. Do you remember telling Detective Calhoun that Christopher worked for your dad at one time?
He did.
The cops didn't get, well, the cops did care, but the family don't seem to care that much because the cops couldn't identify the body. Then they identified the body, but they couldn't find any evidence. They still have to find evidence. It's not enough that you know who the body is. They searched the house. They found nothing at the house. No indication that she was murdered or transported, anything related to Christopher. But the family didn't give a shit till later. That's the problem I have.
Would that have been a very, very, well,
Very short time.
it was a very short time, but it was very early in their relationship,
Yes.
wasn't it? What did you say, like 95 or something?
Sue is my southern correspondent, and she says meth isn't really that big of a problem. It's okay. It's like Coors Light if you live down there.
No, probably before that.
Okay. And what did Christopher do for you?
Well, my dad was a roofer.
Okay.
He had a roofing company. So
He spent a good bit of time up on the roof then, didn't he?
yeah.
And Christopher would have been there with him.
Yeah.
And so Christopher would have spent a good bit of time with your dad at that time,
Probably.
for however long it lasted.
Yeah.
Okay.
But a lot of times dad would go to other job sites and stuff too.
Now, you just described that you didn't know to be worried about Melissa until your dad came into the Waffle House where you worked.
Yes, sir.
And you said that was in February of 99.
Yes,
And that would have been right after your mother's birthday. Is that correct?
right.
And did your mom and dad come up there together?
No, it was just Dad.
Just your dad. And that's when he asked you about where's your sister?
Hmm.
And
Yes, sir.
she didn't call it Christmas.
Right,
And she didn't call for your mom's birthday.
right,
And that's when you said, wait a minute, something's wrong.
right.
And what did you do after that?
I waited to see if Mom and Dad would find her because that's what they were going to do. They were going to look for her. I was working night shift. It was hard for me to look for her.
And it was hard for you to look for her. And how long was it before you actually did start to look for her?
I couldn't look for her. And by the time 2003 came around and we found out she was dead, it wasn't until later that I started trying to do something.
I see. Do you remember saying to Detective Calhoun that after Carl came up to look for you at your old Waffle House, you went up to Brookline?
No,
If I
that
showed,
was way before that I went to Brookline.
if I showed you a transcript of your interview with Mr. Calhoun, would that refresh your recollection?
Probably.
I read somewhere else that it actually was her mom's DNA they used for it, but in connection with her dad's arrest.
Yeah, approach her.
Yes.
My apologies for the small print.
Very small,
I think it's
maybe, but I have glasses on, so it's okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So does that refresh your recollection?
Yeah, it does.
So you did go up to Brookline after your dad came.
Yeah, because Dad wasn't exactly sure. He had a different address for him than where they actually were. I think the address he had for him was Washington Avenue, I think. It wasn't Brookline.
Who is in Brookline? Was that where they lived, or?
Do you remember also telling Detective Calhoun that when all this stuff first happened, I went up to the West End to Brookline and knocked on the door?
Before what happened?
Those were your words. You talked to an aunt or a cousin there?
Aunt or a cousin? No, I never talked to an aunt or a cousin.
If I showed you a transcript, would that refresh your recollection?
Yeah.
Why haven't she read her transcript when she prepped for this with the district attorney? Because now she's going to come off as a weak
You do
witness.
not. Thank you.
I don't remember that. No, I don't remember that.
That doesn't refresh it?
No, I don't remember that.
You deny saying that?
I don't remember saying that.
You deny?
I don't remember. I know that I don't remember ever knocking on a door and a cousin or something like that answering the door.
You remember that?
I know I went to Brookline after I saw my dad.
Do you remember the house that Christopher and Melissa lived in was a duplex
Yeah.
and that their relatives lived in the second?
There was a uncle or something that was deaf that lived on one side of Chris and Melissa.
So do you not
Or
deny
mine.
making this statement that you talked to somebody at the house?
I don't remember talking to anybody at the house, but I know I went to Brookline, but I don't remember saying to Calhoun that I talked to somebody.
Okay, I just need you to focus on my question.
Mhm.
I know you don't remember now, but I'm asking, do you deny saying it?
Hang on, there's an objection, so
Oh.
just one moment.
The witness has answered the question. He's demanding an acceptance or denial. She simply stated she doesn't recall. So I don't think she's in a position where she's ready to say I deny it because she doesn't remember. She doesn't remember.
I'll move on.
Answer the question.
But she said, I don't remember, and then she said, I never did it. So she must remember that.
I'll move on.
Mr. McDermott,
I'll move on.
go ahead.
Do you remember Detective Calhoun asking you about your father and could he have had anything to do with Melissa?
Yes, I do.
And do you remember saying, no, he's mellowed out as he got older?
I don't think that was exactly what I said, but I know I told him that there was no way it had anything to do with my dad and that my dad would not do that. Actually, I took offense to it.
Do you remember also telling Calhoun immediately after that you and your sister and your mother were the most important things in his life?
In whose life? My dad's?
Yes.
Yeah.
And do you remember saying that he would kill anybody for you?
For us, yes.
If anybody was messing with you, they were gone?
Yeah.
That was all it was. And do you remember telling Calhoun it didn't matter who it was?
That's true.
Does that sound like a man who had mellowed out?
Your Honor, objection that the question initially was speculative in nature, or was asking a speculative question. I think he's coming back to what she thinks her father could or couldn't have done, and I'm objecting to the form of the question.
I'm going to sustain the objection to the form of the question, and you can rephrase it, sir.
I'll move on, Your Honor. You have stated that through the period that you knew Melissa at the Waffle House and whatnot, that you worked hard to get Melissa away from Christopher.
Yes, I did.
And you said that you didn't like him,
No,
and that nobody in your family liked him.
no, we didn't.
Do you remember saying that to Detective Calhoun?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember telling him, do you remember saying on a podcast that Mom and Dad don't even know how much I tried to get Melissa away from Chris behind closed doors?
Yes, I do.
And you did all that while you were working at Waffle House. And you persuaded her to come live with you for 2 weeks, right?
Right.
And you said just a while ago on direct testimony that you claimed that she left your house because she wanted to go see her kids
She wanted to go back home to her kids after a week.
after a week. And that's when you took
Supposed to have
her,
been 2 weeks.
and you took her back up to Brookline.
Yeah.
And are you aware that her kids didn't live with her at Brookline?
They were always there when I went. Anytime I saw her at Brookline, they were there.
You were aware that at that time she didn't have custody of those children?
No, I wasn't aware of that.
Do you remember? Do you remember Detective Calhoun telling you that she didn't have custody of her children at that time?
Hang on, just, yeah, thank you.
Objection. Yes, objection, Your Honor.
Mr. McDermott, response?
It's not being offered for the truth of the matter asserted. It's being offered to her recollection that it was said to her and what her reaction was.
I'm going to overrule the objection. Go ahead.
Do you remember telling Detective Calhoun that she wouldn't just up and disappear on her kids like that?
I do remember saying that.
And he told you she didn't have custody of them?
I don't remember that exactly. But I know he said something to me about the kids.
If I showed you a transcript of that discussion, would it refresh your recollection?
Again, this is a 27-year-old case. She remembered exact words said. She could see fingers around her neck. A random outburst. I know how to hide a body. She must have read this testimony when she prepared for her testimony today with the DA's office. She's coming off as she's trying to hide something, maybe not intentionally, but this is as much as I'm going to hide somebody, finding out if I, God forbid, one of my siblings went missing. And I found out that even though I worked with them, I didn't know that they had given away custody of their kids. I think that would be pretty much stuck up in my brain as well. That would be a what the hell? Who's taking care of the kids? What's happening? Why didn't they call me so I could take care of the kids? But fuck it. No, I got really addicted to true crime and meth, and that's when I started looking for them.
Where? Okay. But I didn't know that.
You redirect me.
And this interview was in 2003, correct?
Yes.
You're still here.
So you've known since 2003 that she didn't have custody of her children, correct?
That's what I was told.
So
And I learned.
your testimony here today still is that you took her back to Brookline so she could see her children.
That's what she told me she wanted to go back to Brookline for, was because of her kids.
Because of her kids. Okay, thank you. You said that Melissa was actually close to Troy, your boyfriend.
No,
Do you remember telling Detective Calhoun that that was one of the few people she was close to?
I don't remember saying that.
Hey, Red House. House of Hanging. Me, short, civiled, and to the left.
If I showed you a transcript of that,
Oh yeah, she did the night shift, so she couldn't understand anything that happened in the world, couldn't do anything till 2015, where she found out there's this super drug out there that'll give you a lot of extra energy. And that's when she could, well, I don't know if she started in 2015. Who am I to judge? I've never been to a Waffle House. I don't know if meth is a side dish.
refresh your recollection?
Yeah.
Refresh your recollection?
Not really.
Do you remember telling Detective Calhoun that she was also close to your husband, David, at the time?
I kind of a little bit remember that something.
Come again. She was close to her boyfriend, the sister's boyfriend, and the sister's husband. Sue, is this how the South works? Should I move to the South so I could finally lose my V card?
About David.
Is that David Burns?
Yeah.
And where is he today?
Hopefully in jail
And why was he sent to jail?
for molesting my daughter.
Oh, what an a-hole.
Do you remember, obviously I've asked you several times if you remember talking to Detective Calhoun in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember in that interview that he asked you when was the last time you saw Melissa?
Yeah.
And do you remember telling him, similar to the story you told here a while ago, that it was in March on your birthday,
It was March, the same week of my birthday,
the same week of your birthday? And you remember that clearly because
because it was my birthday and she brought me a cake.
and she brought you a birthday cookie.
Yep.
And you worked at the Waffle House by the airport, and the WWE wrestlers came in on that night.
Yeah. I remember that.
And you and Melissa were both WWE fans.
Yeah.
And you said that she just missed them that night.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember telling Detective Calhoun that that was in March of 1999?
I don't remember saying 99, but I was probably confused about the year because it was 98. 99 was when she was found.
And you agree with me that she was not found until April 29th?
Yeah.
No.
But do you remember having that conversation with him that your mother had told you it can't be 99, it had to be 98?
I think that was later on when me and mom were talking. Because at that time, I don't think me and mom were really talking that much.
If I showed you a transcript, would it refresh your memory?
Yeah.
Her former husband. Well, was it 98 or 99? So we have unalivings, serial unalivings, babies in hampers, CP, and the WWE. Marissa, you've
I
done
do
it
remember
again.
her telling me that
Find
one time.
craziness.
And that was before the interview with Detective Calhoun, obviously.
No, I think that was not before the interview. I think that was later on. I think she said something to me about it.
If this is a transcript of the interview with Calhoun, and you're telling him about your mom talking to you before that interview,
Mom wasn't with me that day. I went to see Calhoun by myself.
and when you're talking to Calhoun, you said, I talked to my mom yesterday. Isn't that what you just read?
Yeah, that's what I just read, but I think that was a different time.
You think,
Different time that I talked to Calhoun. That wasn't the first time that I talked to Calhoun.
but now I'm confused. You gave multiple interviews to Detective Calhoun,
I talked to Calhoun several times.
and this was in 2003, correct?
Right.
Okay. So as of this interview, you were telling him that you were certain that it was March of 1999, but that you had talked to your mom the day before and she was trying to get you to change your mind. Is that what you just read?
That's what I read, but I don't remember that.
Of course you don't remember, because that
I
would
don't-
really
You were
F up
concerned
the
about Melissa when
timeline.
your father came into the Waffle House
Mhm.
in East Point in February of 1999.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry.
So you were working there in that time frame.
At a different Waffle House I was. I was at a different Waffle House when Dad came to see me.
You just have to,
At Waffle House. But it wasn't the same Waffle House we worked at.
okay, I'm going to go back and ask you again for the record. Do you remember stating on a podcast, I didn't get concerned until I was at work one morning at Waffle House in East Point.
Mm-hmm.
And here comes my dad walking in the door.
Yeah.
Talking about where's your sister?
Yeah.
And that was in February of 1999.
Right.
Okay.
What's the question?
Well, I thought you just told me that you were working in a different Waffle House.
I
when this
was.
happened.
It was the one in East Point, but that wasn't what you said earlier.
So you were working at the Waffle House in East Point at this time.
Yes.
Okay. That's
Washington Road.
That was my question. And is that where Melissa came to see you?
No,
What Waffle House was that in?
Virginia Avenue,
Okay. And where's the Waffle House in East Point at?
Washington Road.
Washington. The one by Spun Divots.
No, that is Virginia Avenue.
Okay.
It's also East Point. There's two East Point
East Point
applications,
Waffle House. I see.
location.
I'm supposed to land in Atlanta if I go to Tennessee next year. I don't think I will do that. Is it a long drive from Dallas?
When you saw Melissa leave that night, the last time you saw her,
Mhm.
was she by herself or with somebody?
She was by herself.
And how did she leave?
She just left in a car.
In a car?
Mhm.
Do you remember telling Detective Calhoun she was in a white Ford pickup?
It's possible. They only had two vehicles that I ever saw.
I'll do that.
And she was driving the vehicle?
Flights to
She was
Dallas.
driving it.
Do you know who owned that vehicle?
Probably Chris.
Do you remember telling Detective Calhoun that that car was in her name?
There was another car that I think I said was in her name, but that's what she told me.
Probably no direct flights.
If I showed you a transcript of that discussion, would you refresh your memory?
Well, that's a long drive to Tennessee.
Oh. I said, I think.
I don't partake in the joys of street pharmaceuticals, so I don't know. Even though I think actually I helped one get to a dealer yesterday because I didn't think about the question until later. But I don't think those types of street pharmaceuticals goes into your nose. I think it goes into your lungs or into your veins.
Did you tell Calhoun at that time that you think it's in Chris's name? Or did you tell him that you think it's in Melissa's name?
Well, it says there that I thought it was in Melissa's. So that's probably what I said, but there was another car that was supposed to have been in Melissa's name.
Now, you just told us about an altercation that allegedly occurred between Troy McClendon
Thank you.
and Mr. Wolfenbarger.
Yeah, this makes Massachusetts look
And-
good.
You told it a little different than you did the first time. Or at least as you told Detective Calhoun. And I'd like to walk through some of those details.
Okay.
There is no direct flight.
When you
from
testified a while
Copenhagen
ago,
to
you
Charlotte,
said-
South Carolina.
That she came back, they came into Waffle House together, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Melissa and Chris?
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Thank
And
you.
Melissa walked to the back with you. And she was in tears.
Yes.
And you noted these handprint
Dann
marks on her
hat
neck.
flight
Right.
to Stuttgart.
And you said to her, did Chris do that to you?
Yeah.
And
Didn't say anything.
she didn't say anything.
Right.
And you said you went to go do something and she stopped you?
Yeah.
What were you going to go do?
I was going to confront Chris.
Okay. Do you remember telling Detective Calhoun a different version of that story?
No
You
direct
asked her,
flights
"What's
from
wrong with your
Hamburg,"
neck?
So
And she said, Chris tried to choke me.
Probably. I don't remember exactly. That was a long time ago.
But you're testifying under oath here today that she didn't say anything back.
I'm sure when I was walking away, she was trying to stop me, which she would have said something.
But she didn't say anything back when you asked about the neck.
She cried. She didn't have to say anything.
But you told Calhoun that she did respond to you. Correct?
I guess. I mean,
And you said that as you were starting to come out the back, Troy McClendon was coming through the swinging doors to the back.
yeah.
Yeah. And when you talked to Calhoun, you said you were coming outside and Troy was just coming in the front door.
No. That wasn't what I meant. There's one swinging door between the front and the back. You have to go
Oh,
through
so
that.
you're referring to the front as just the restaurant part.
Right.
Okay. And you remember telling Calhoun that when they came in, Chris sat down at the high top.
No, he sat down there both.
If I showed you a transcript, would that change? Would that refresh your recollection?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes. Oh, okay. That was when they were coming in the door. When they had come in.
So when they came in, Chris sat down at the high top, correct?
Yes, so.
And for those without Waffle House lingo, the high top is kind of the bar with the tall scoop stools.
Yes.
I don't need to explain that to an Atlanta jury, I'm sure. But then you said when you came out, you talked to Troy,
Uh-huh.
and then Troy went to confront Chris.
Right.
And then he went over and Chris was in the booth by the window.
Right, because he had moved.
And Melissa was in the seat beside him, correct?
No, Melissa was still in the back. Melissa wasn't out front yet.
If I showed you a transcript, would that refresh your recollection?
Mm-hmm.
It's useless, Joe.
Other side of the booth. Okay, yeah.
On the outside of the booth, is that correct?
The other, I probably said that outside,
Other side
but
of the booth.
she was on the opposite side of the table from Chris.
How did she transport from the back suddenly to the table?
Because she went out the back door to go out front. She went the opposite way of where I went. I went straight to the front. She went, there's another door behind the office that goes to the restrooms.
Okay.
So she would have went out that door and went out front trying to beat me to the front. But Troy had stopped me.
And he had to reach across Melissa to slap Chris, is that correct?
He reached across the table to slap Chris.
But he had to reach across Melissa.
I don't remember Melissa sitting on that side. I think it was the other side.
Okay. So you've told different versions of this story, different details as time's
It
gone
was
on.
a
haven't you?
long time ago.
Yeah. You've also told us this story that Christopher just one day blurted out at Waffle House. He knows how to kill somebody and get away with it.
He did.
And you said you had no idea where that phrase came from.
No.
But didn't you just tell us that Christopher used to work and spend the day on the roofs with your father?
And
And your father was convicted of murders he committed back in 1970s?
so my
And he used-
dad never said anything like that.
How do you know my dad? No, and said not dad. Stop with the attitude and stop starting to answer just because you want to protect your dad. You don't get this irate with your sister, but don't talk about daddy. Daddy was a good guy. He only killed 5 people. He could have killed more.
You know, were you on the roof with Chris?
My dad would never say anything like that.
I'm asking you, were you on the roof with Chris?
No, I wasn't.
I'm objecting. I believe this is argumentative. Mr. Witness.
Overruled. Move on, please.
So just one more time. You were never on the roof with Chris.
No,
You weren't there when he spent time with your father.
no.
And you don't know what your father might have boasted about.
My dad never boasted about what he did.
Not around you, correct?
They never talked about what he did.
You can only talk about what you know, correct?
I know my dad never talked about what they did.
Excuse me, no further questions.
Thank you. Anything else for this witness, Mr. Fossett? Redirect.
Ms. Patton, when you confronted Chris at the residence, you were testifying previously to dropping Melissa off at the residence. What residence was that?
Brookline.
Okay. And that was still during the 1998 period?
Mhm.
All right. And that,
Yes.
Yes.
Thank
Sorry.
you. That's okay.
all right. And if we're talking about the year she was found, the
Mhm.
year her skull
sir.
and remains were found, you recall that as being 1999?
Yes, it was.
All right.
99.
Now, if you could, to the best of your recollection, think back to that period of time when you were working with your sister, and I get the Waffle Houses confused myself, and that's the Virginia Avenue Waffle House. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. What year was that?
It was 97 when she worked with me.
All right. And was that the beginning of 97?
It was the end of 97.
Do you,
This is most likely the theory that the defense will try and get out there that the daddy could have done it.
do you recall if it was December, November, October?
Well, it was the end of December. It was the end of the year, but it was March when she came to see me of 98, and she had already left that Waffle House.
All right. And your testimony was that she left right after she got the 6-month vacation check?
Right.
So if she started at the end of 97, Would 6 months have taken us to the end of 98?
No, I think it was, how can I explain it? If she started in like September, then would have been September, October, November, December. There would have been 4 months right there. By the time my birthday got there in March, she had already left that Waffle House because she was at the one on, what was it? Doryville. She told me she was at Doryville.
So she would have left, I guess started early enough in 97 to hit 6 months before your birthday in March.
Right.
Okay. Now, you were just testifying as to the events that occurred at Waffle House.
Right.
You just testified about the booth, about the high chair. Have you seen, you were showed the transcript before the defense attorney showed you a copy of your statement,
Right.
the multiple statements.
Right.
Had you seen those transcripts prior to today's date?
No.
You hadn't studied those transcripts?
No.
And we're talking about the events that occurred in 1998?
Right.
And are you still testifying to the best of your recollection?
Yes.
All right, that's all I have, Judge.
Mr. McDermott?
No further questions.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. You may step down. The witness excused. May the witness be excused?
No objection.
No objection.
Start by telling you that I need you to be back here tomorrow morning at 9:30. And you'll just follow the same procedure that you followed previously. Now you probably have a little bit more insight about going to the callbacks, and we'll let you into the jury room. So that's 9:30 tomorrow morning. A couple of things that are important. One is we can't proceed unless all of you are here together. So that means whether it's I'm releasing you for the evening or if I'm releasing you to lunch or a break, if you'll try really hard to come back at the designated time, especially if arriving in the morning, because we can't start until everybody's all here together. If you are running late, if something happens, if you missed the shuttle the first go round, that sort of thing, just let us know. Contact my office, send us a quick text or an email, and that way we'll know that you're on your way and that we can accommodate that. Last few things I want to let you know, especially now that you have heard some evidence in the case. I want to remind you that your obligation in this case is to make this decision only based on the evidence that you hear in this courtroom. And so that means that it would not be proper for you to drive by any locations, to go do any of your own research, to look anything up, to do anything like that. It also would not be proper for you to discuss this case with anyone or to allow anyone to discuss it with you or around you. And that includes amongst yourselves until I tell you to actually deliberate the case. Now, lastly, I don't know if there will be media about this case, but I know some of you, maybe more than others, have said you watch local news and that sort of thing. I'm going to ask you to please avoid media. Don't go look anything up about this on social media, and please avoid local media or national media if you can, just in case there is something about this case. Now, should you happen to accidentally encounter something, first of all, stop immediately. And then second of all, let me know that that happened. And probably it will be nothing, but we need to know about anything that you might have seen so that we can decide if any action needs to be taken. Finally, I appreciate your patience and attention to this process, and I will send you home for the evening and see you tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. Thank you.
All right, observe.
And the jury room will be locked, so you can leave your notes and things like that in the jury room when you go home for the evening. Thank you all. You may be seated. Anything from the parties that you need me to take up before we adjourn for the day?
Two very short things.
Yes, sir.
One, we were given a rap sheet on a witness, maybe the first witness tomorrow,
It would not be the first one.
at some point tomorrow. This is the first I've ever gotten a rap sheet on her. Our entire knowledge of this witness is one sentence in a report that's, 183 pages long. So I don't know much about her. I have actually two requests. One, is there any additional information through interviews or whatever? Or is that one sentence all we're going to hear from her?
Regarding who is this person? I think
It's
that'd be
a
helpful.
former neighbor who's going to say she heard them fighting. The opening statement seemed to have gone a lot further than that, which means there's some other interviews or statements going on.
Ms. Hilton,
Yes, and I can put.
can
on
you
the
tell me
record-
the name of that witness so our
Yes, we
record's
can.
clear?
In the discovery, I believe she's named Dorothy Jones.
Okay.
However, her name is actually Dorothy Cooley.
Cooley?
Cooley, Cooley.
Okay.
She resided on Brookline. She was a neighbor of Mr. Wolfenbarger. It appeared, and I'll apologize, I thought most of this information was in the discovery, so I'm going to apologize for not giving you all of this. So we found her yesterday, Your Honor, interestingly enough, at her job. I did take a moment to speak with her. What we believe her testimony will be is that she lived on Brookline, was a next door neighbor, knew Mr. Wolfenbarger for about 10 years. she would say, this is not gonna come out, but in full disclosure, that they would sit on the porch every day and smoke marijuana. But he was younger than her. She was a little bit older. She was familiar with his uncle Rick, who also lived at that home as well. That over the course of some time, eventually she started seeing a woman come by the house. She may have saw a baby with this woman once or twice. That she would hear yelling coming from their home. That one time she may have heard like things breaking multiple times, and that she did see on one occasion a black eye. She was the woman was wearing glasses and had a black eye. So that's what she would testify to. I don't think she knew her name. She can describe her. She's familiar with what she looks like. I did show her a picture of Ms. Wolfenbarger to see if this is the same person that we're all talking about. She said she recognized her as a woman that she has seen with Chris. I think she has to work tomorrow, so she'll be here by sometime after 10, so I can make her available so that you can talk to her. But that is the synopsis of, I believe, the information she would provide.
The second thing is, because I was just given a rap sheet, I can't give them notice, pretrial notice, that some of these convictions are old, but she's got a lot. I'm trying to make my way through the cycles, but there are some felonies that are more than 10 years old, so I'm giving them notice now. I do plan to use those to cross-examine her.
Ms. Hilton?
You're right. I think that's fine. That she's giving notice.
Thank you. It seems like we're going to accept that as notice for now. Mr. Samuel, anything else?
Just remember the 1 o'clock thing tomorrow, or the 1:30 hearing tomorrow.
Yes, the 1:30 hearing.
Again, I'm not trying to take priority. If I can just, if maybe we could do lunch sometime around then.
Yeah, I don't know how long, Judge Emerson is usually pretty efficient.
He's going to be very efficient.
But my intention was to target breaking for lunch around 1:15, so that way the jury would be, occupied. You could go downstairs and do whatever you need to do and then be back. And then thank you for reminding me of that, because that might assist the state in having their witnesses ready to go as we proceed through.
I very much appreciate that.
Okay. Anything from the state?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Okay. The only thing I will ask, and this is just a preference, different judges are different ways, but if you can stand up and say objection, hearsay, objection, argumentative, objection, calls for conclusion, objection, he's badgering a witness. Let's keep it to a minimum, right? If we need to have a more fulsome discussion, then I'll probably invite you up here. I'm not going to say you can't make your record that you've made the objection and what the general grounds are.
One video on him, I think.
And if the answer is going to be a withdrawn or something, we can do all that.
Las Vegas.
But let's keep our speaking objections. I don't think anybody's trying to get away with anything so far in terms of objections and responses, but let's keep our speaking objections and responses to a minimum. Okay? Anything else? Okay. We are adjourned. It is 5:22. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
I don't know how to explain what had happened today was. I did a video this morning at 7 o'clock, which would have been 1 a.m. Yankee time, where I, based on 3 articles I've read about this case, had a picture of these 2 people were high school sweethearts. There was some DV. She moved back with her mom. He convinced a judge that he should be allowed to see her. She then moves back in with him and disappears around Thanksgiving, because the last conversation she has with her mother and sister is at Thanksgiving, where they discuss plans for Christmas. A couple of days later, after Thanksgiving, the mom and sister is missing her and wondering, why the hell haven't we heard from her? And then goes over to the residence, finds the residence empty, and a neighbor says, well, Chris just left in the middle of the night. And then they find the body parts 5 months later, and no one can determine that it's her. And then her dad was a serial killer that they found out in 2003, and they used his DNA to figure out that it was her. Now, which is 17 hours later, I have the understanding that she wasn't living with Christopher because she had another boyfriend. She didn't have kids anymore. She had given up her custody over the kids. She apparently found her sister Tina's dead baby in a hamper when she was 11, 12 years old, even though Tina apparently had moved out at that time. At some point, she was also living in Las Vegas with Tina, even though the reports I read this morning said her and Chris were high school sweethearts and got married when she was 17. So when did she live in Las Vegas? Because Tina came home from Las Vegas when she was 21, 22. She's 7 years older. So Melissa could at maximum have been 15 years old when Tina came home again. Do I always say Thanksgiving like that? How did I say Thanksgiving? And then we found out that the mom actually helped the dad at least clean up after some of his unalivings with 2 of the victims. He had 5 under his belt. I only thought he had 3 in the articles I read. Then we find out that there's police reports missing. There's a VHS tape that apparently shows a dog dragging this skull out from some wooded area, which kind of sounded dumb. Right across the street from where Christopher worked is where they dumped the body parts, which, hey, lazy criminals, am I right? But then we hear that area is known for being a drug use spot. So maybe it's not the worst place to dump a body because I don't know. And then we get the sister on the stand. This sister, in all the reports I have read, was at the house and have been fighting since 1998 to find Melissa. But in reality, she didn't even know Melissa was missing till February when her dad came to the Waffle House and said, "Hey girl, you seen your sister? She didn't call mom for her birthday." And she said, "Nah." So your sister has been missing since roughly Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is when? We don't we didn't say thanks to the natives we unalived. We just took them back home and used them to do our work for us, or just beat them up and called it Viking. So she hasn't thought anything about not seeing her sister for 2-3 months. Didn't hear shit from her from Christmas, but missing mom's birthday was when she knew something was wrong. But her sister always also stated to a police officer that she had seen her in March that year because she knew that Melissa would be mad that she didn't get to meet the WWE wrestlers. But she knew she was gone from February. She can't remember anything, but she can clearly remember that someone punched someone in the face and someone was crying, which meant that someone had choked them. But she didn't even know that her sister had signed away custody for her own kids. Because she did the 3rd shift at the Waffle House. And we all know 3rd shift is fight shift. She was taking bets, cleaning up blood, saying, "Okay, you're next, get at it, no pulling of the wig." Can someone, November, so December, January, February, so roughly 3 months, she didn't care shit about her until mom's birthday. Can someone tell me what the hell is going on? we don't know if Dad has been ruled out as a suspect because this case went cold for 26 years. The family didn't start looking into this case, we were told by Tina now, till 2015, sorry. That's when she all of a sudden found out there's a subgenre called true crime, and she got addicted to true crime. And because she got addicted to true crime, she started raising awareness about her missing sister. So from 1998-9, where she found out her sister was dead. Well, she didn't. She found out in 2003 when her dad was put in prison. So from 2003 and 12 years, she never, ever really tried to raise awareness. Then in 2015, she figures out, hey, that true crime podcasting, that's really interesting. Or maybe she saw the girl with the dragon tattoo and thought, oh, man, I really should start looking for my sister. Me and my mom needs to get out there, go on podcast, really raise awareness. But apparently, and again, this is from the defense, so take it with a grain of salt. The mom thought there was a possibility that their dad could be released after 13 years of incarceration on parole, even though he had a life sentence because there was some technicality that could give him. So if the dad was a potential suspect in the daughter's murder, you really want to find another suspect. So if dad comes up for parole, he can sit there and cry and say, hey, what about my daughter? And then he didn't do it. That's the same with the one who said, well, he told officers when he was arrested, what about my daughter? Go find my daughter. Yeah, that looks really good at a parole hearing when you say, hey, my daughter's still missing. Can I get parole? I know I unalived 5 people and I got life in prison, probably a couple of times over. But I've been here 13 years. If she is a grifter, I applaud her. Get her on the channel. She just found out true crime is a thing and was like, I wonder if my missing sister and serial killer parents have anything to do with true crime. Yeah, let's just start looking into it. Sadly, no Plevin book so far. You think the true crime gave her courage and info, but that just doesn't make sense. I know people, there's probably, I haven't done a poll yet. I will bet right now there is at least 36% of you who believes, well, he's fucking guilty. But let's look at the facts we have heard so far. No one has anything to say other than there was some domestic violence or potential domestic violence going on. The sister, who's the crown witness, who really is fighting for her sister's life and memory, can't even tell you what happened other than what Fitz really need into, hey, Chris did it. Because she wasn't even close enough to her sister that her sister said, hey, I can't handle my kids. Can you take them? Or at least say, hey, I can't handle my kids. I gave them to my mother-in-law. And if it's true what the defense said in opening, which I believe it is because that was not what the state objected to, there's no evidence physically linking Christopher to any of this. There's not a shred of DNA. There's not a trace of blood. There's no implements used to dissect the body. There was even some paint found with the body parts that was tested and didn't match anything. There's no way. There's nothing in his car. Take it's so sad she died. blinders off. What evidence have we heard from today that makes anyone say, well, so far, I'm pretty sure he did it? If anyone right now, put one in the chat if you would comfortably go in and vote guilty that Christopher killed Melissa with the evidence we have been provided so far. I don't know. I couldn't do it. I know that much. Back to the time for a 24-hour stream. You need to set 24-hour streams up with Marissa. She is my booker because I need someone to take care of it. But I'm going to redirect you to a friend of yours so you can get some entertainment in the ER. But stop going to the ER. Stop going to all those doctors. Start getting better. And as long as your wife is yelling at you, I hope it means you're doing good. Well, good or the dad was a potential subject in the first go around, but they had no way to prove it. There's no tool marks. There's nothing that they could point at. That's why the case went cold for so long. Then all of a sudden, in 2017, a crime scene investigator focuses in on this case because she hears about it on a podcast, I think. She then starts looking into it, but it's still not taken up till 2024 is when the police starts moving on it, because a new witness and something new forensically shows up. But they didn't mention anything in the openings about, because if I had the whole Holy Covenant, whatever it's called, if I had the thing that they are finding in Indiana Jones, if I had that one and I was going to present it later, I would tease it. And I didn't get any teasers from the state. Maybe they're hiding it and going to surprise us all. But day one done. The sister who was supposed to be the one who could tell you what happened, she cried one time when she came to work. Christopher said, I can make a body disappear, and someone punched Christopher. But she didn't even know her own sister was gone for 3 months. She didn't know the kids weren't with her sister. And she didn't start looking till 17 years later was when she got the courage to start asking questions. I am not beyond reasonable doubt right now. And I am not Law and Crime, because I did look in Law and Crime chat earlier, and they said, well, this guy is clearly guilty. How is he clearly guilty? There's no evidence provided so far that even puts him near the dead body, or other than he worked across the street. But we haven't seen where across the street, and the picture is a new one. So we don't know how it looked back then, if it was way more overgrown and if it was a place junkies hung out. I really don't understand. With what we have seen so far, they really need to turn it up to 11 tomorrow. Yeah, but the problem is they put the sister on and she remembers everything clearly. As soon as she gets the first question on cross, I didn't say, I don't know who, maybe. And it just makes her look sus, in my opinion. But hey, what do I know? I am a cold-hearted son of a gun. It's Friday morning, my time, because it's just turned midnight. I have to be up cleaning my house tomorrow because I have a dog that's going to be dropped off that I have to take care of for a couple of hours in the morning. So, Brandon, I'm going to send you over to a good friend of ours. The rest of you, I am going to send to bed. And no, you won't go to bed. Well, Serenative might, and Helen from Holland might. The rest of you, see you tomorrow. We'll be back at, I think they start 9:30, but keep an eye out because they started early today. Bye. Oh, I have to change that for tomorrow.